Hey everyone, it's Larry Krueger with Jern's Distributing Company. For over a half century, Jern's has been the cornerstone of excellence, trusted by Sacramento's finest restaurants, bars, and casinos. But now they're excited to announce that Jern's exceptional products will be coming directly to you. That's right. Check out their new website, Jurins.com. Jurins.com. Jern's has a vast catalog with everything you need to elevate your kitchen and craft, from premium cocktail mixes to top-notch kitchen essentials that stand up to the rigors of a commercial kitchen. And here's the best part. When you shop at Jurins.com, you enjoy free nationwide shipping. That's right, free shipping. Jurins is able to offer customers best-in-class prices on all their products because they buy directly from the manufacturer and they cut out the middleman. But wait, there's more. For a limited time, get a fantastic 10% off your entire order by using the promo code Krueg, K-R-U-E-G, at checkout. Make sure to check the link in the description and use that promo code Krueg, K-R-U-E-G, at Jurins.com. And we are off and running. Saturday morning, 9:23 on the West Coast, 12:23 on the East Coast. College football in full effect. We move out of the way here, get situated. Welcome to the Pig and a Pickle Krueg Show. Larry Krueger, joined by the coach today. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out in Emeryville or Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till whenever they run out, 8 p.m. or until they run out. Get the brisket chili. Go say hi to Damon and Mary. Tell them that Larry Krueger sent you. We're also brought to you by Marine Auto Glass. And if we can put together our wrap here, which we can. We can. There we go. We're brought to you by New York Style Italian Sausage. The only kind of Italian sausage that I will eat is New York Style Italian sausage from my good friend Pasquale. I love me some Pasquale.
We grew up with the Sunday dinner.
Pasquale. We grew up with the Sunday dinner, and we're brought to you by New York Style Italian Sausage, and of course the title sponsor of the Krueg Show, Pig and a Pickle. We'll also get to our fantasy brothers before long, Mojo Fantasy and Underdog Fantasy. And without any further ado, we welcome in the man who's loosening up the neck. He's got the background light going today, smooth-looking chair. Man's out there doing his thing. The coach. What's up, Coach? How are you?
I'm humbled by the intro, Larry. How are you doing? It's man. Cowboys week, man.
It's Cowboys
week. Are you
week.
Ready for this? Are you ready?
I talked to Brad Sham yesterday.
Told me about Brad Sham, baby. Let's go.
Brad Sham's been doing Cowboy games since 1976.
Okay.
So you say Randy Martin, you say Randy Martin, he comes back with the Manster.
That's 45 years, man.
You talk Randy White, he says Manster. You say Harvey Martin, he says Super Bowl MVP. You say Chuck Howley, he doesn't give you a blank stare. You say Tom Landry and Tex Schramm and Gil Brandt, and this guy was there for all of it. Mm-hmm. The entire run of Jerry and Jimmy at the beginning. I mean, we could go on forever about him. So Brad Sham's doing the broadcast. Great guy. Joined us on the broadcast yesterday. Had a lot of fun talking Niners Cowboys.
I caught a little bit of that, man.
Did you? And before it even started, like literally a second or two before we're going live, because I had set it up the day before.
Right.
All of a sudden, news comes across. 49ers sent a 6th-round pick in 2024 to the Broncos for Randy Gregory, and a 7th-round pick in 2024. Denver pays the remaining $10.9 million on his deal this season. Niners only pay the veteran minimum of $840K. And all of a sudden, I'm like, wow, Gregory's here, and he's got 3 years left on his deal, Coach. No remaining guaranteed money, so he can walk away at the end of this year. The Niners owe him nothing. He did pass his physical. Shanahan said that he wouldn't play on Sunday, but then kind of left the door open. They made the corresponding move as they cut Kerry Hyder, who led the Niners in sacks in 2020 and could play inside, could play outside. But Coach, I'll tell you, to me, this is not a surprise. I did a video on this earlier in the week saying they should go in this direction and should sign Gregory. I've been talking about this as a problem spot since the end of camp. But the number that jumps out is Drake Jackson, who's a great guy. I love Drake. But Drake, Kerry Hyder, and Cleveland Farrell had combined, the three of those guys combined only had 8 quarterback hits in 243 pass rush snaps. To put that in perspective, Randy Gregory has half that many by himself. He's got 4 quarterback hits in 73 total pass rush snaps. So they were not hitting the quarterback outside of Bosa from the defensive end spot, and they had to get more quality depth. They do have $40 million in cap room, but this was just like the steal of steals when you look at this trade.
Right. The rich keep getting richer, man. Usually I love to come in here and greet you with a nice gut punch so we can get going, but it seems like we're on the same page today, Larry. This was a good pick. This is a good pickup. And we touched on this in the last show, if you don't remember, where we talked about what did the Niners need juxtaposed to last touches on this team, right? What are we going to take into presumably the postseason, into our Super Bowl run, right? That's what we're charting this team out to do for the season. And there was a lot of rumblings on us getting like the sexy names, like the Brian Burnses were out there. And there are some other guys that
they're still out there.
Yeah, they are. They are. Not only what's my boy's name out of the Giants? I really liked him. 99. That's not
you talking Leonard Williams?
Leonard Williams.
He's an inside guy, or they also have, Kayvon Thibodeau and Akeem Ojulari or Azeez Ojulari.
But when we last talked, we both kind of settled on the fact that the Niners didn't need a splash guy. We needed a starter, right? Not a superstar, right? We needed somebody to actually come in and to be able to have a package set up for them. All told, what are we doing? What are we really going to be asking Randy Gregory to do? Play 30 snaps. That's pretty much going to be like the heaviest load that he's going to get in the game, right? 30 snaps, give us everything you got. And another guy, history repeats itself. We do this all the time. I mean, maybe Randy is a little bit more longer in the tooth. He's in his 30s. He's actually working on his second contract that he just got bought out from. But it's carbon copy. Cleveland Farrell, Arden Key, like we're bringing in these guys, Charles Omenihu, we're going to bring in Randy Gregory, and he's going to be able to get a lot of load taken off of him, and he's going to be asked to purely rush the passer. Now, he's going to be asked to be a football player first. We all know that. But for what he's bringing us on the defensive end position, it's the perfect move for us, because I don't want to see that money get spent. I don't want to see that. I want to be able to see that draft capital. I mean, not the draft capital, but the cap capital that we have. I want to see that carry into next year, because we got bigger fish to fry with actually keeping this roster together. And I think this is the first year we actually have a full complement of picks as well. So we're going to need the money to be able to save to sign those guys. Yeah. Hello.
Well, no, I was just the chat saying something about Jonathan Taylor. Did Jonathan Taylor get moved this morning?
I don't know. I haven't been. Me and you were fighting traffic to get here.
Let me just double check that out. It seems like there's an awful lot of chat about Jonathan Taylor in our chat right here.
All right, I'm about to look right now. Jonathan Taylor.
They activated him. There's a lot of speculation that he was going to be moved. I mean, the Gregory thing is just such a no-brainer, because look at it this way, Coach. The Niners if the Niners get what they want, which is to win the Super Bowl, they will pick dead last in the end of the 6th round. Denver is winless and easily could be one of the 5 worst teams in the NFL at the end of the season. They could be the worst team in the NFL, really. I mean, record-wise. But they're
Right.
almost a lock to be one of the 5 worst teams. So at the end of
Right.
the day, look what the Niners basically moved back in the 6th round. Is, whatever, maybe 1 spot, maybe 5 spots, probably at most 10 spots. And
Mhm.
for their effort, got Randy Gregory, who, with Dallas in 2021 had 6 sacks. He's looking for kind of a career rejuvenation. I mean, the Bronco thing
Mhm.
did not go well. Um, I love it. The reason I love it is because he's a true speed rusher. And if you've got Bosa who commands doubles,
Mhm.
and then you've got Hargrave and Armstead inside, one of those guys will command a double on almost every snap. So
Right.
if you can put an ideal outside guy opposite that, you want a guy who can really bend the edge and stretch out that offensive line. And
Mhm.
that's what Gregory can do. He can bend the edge, and now you've got more room for the Greenlaws and the Warners to shoot gaps on potential blitzes, and there's just more room in there, and it puts a lot more pressure on an offensive line when you have guys that command doubles, and then you got a speed rusher. I mean, it's kind of like, is Hassan Reddick? Does anybody really believe that Hassan Reddick is like super, super special? I don't. I just think that he wound up on a Philly line that had great players all throughout it that needed to be doubled. You had to double Hargrave, you had to double Fletcher at times, and I just think that he's the super speed rusher on that loaded front. Well, in a lot of ways, Gregory just has to be a speed rusher because if he can speed rush off the edge, and just with the other talent the Niners have on that D line, that's going to be incredible. But looking at Drake and Farrell and Hyder, that was what they really struggled with. They were actually
Mhm.
decent against the run, but they just struggled to get around the edge. And it's like now you get a guy, it doesn't cost you money, it doesn't cost you draft capital. And if you want to turn around in a week or two and trade for a Patrick Surtain, you can if you want. If you want to go get Jonathan Taylor, you could if you want, and roll over. I mean, they've got $40-something million of cap room, and I agree. John Lynch has already said, "Hey, we want to roll it over."
Yeah.
But it wouldn't
It gets
cost
us out of
you.
so much trouble, Larry. Like,
Yeah, I mean, and they will
I-
roll it over, but there's
right.
nothing wrong with rolling over 36 million or something like that and spending 4 on another guy that helps you win the Super Bowl this year. We'll see. I mean, they have ultimate flexibility now with this move, Coach. So let me ask you, because the problem with Gregory, the elephant in the corner of the room, is that he's been suspended 4 times due to violations of the league's substance abuse policy. He's obviously had a history of suspensions in his career. Heck, he went in the 2nd round of the draft when he probably was more of a first round talent
Mhm.
because of problems off the field. Shanahan was asked about it and whether they look into that. And he says, yeah, you look into all that stuff always, but you always judge a guy when you get to know him, and it's our first time to do it. But there's also a lot of people I know really well that speak extremely highly of him, and it's very consistent. So I'm excited about the person we got, the character of the guy, from what I've been told from everyone who knows him, and we love the tape. I know he has messed up at times in the past, but from the type of person I've been told that he is, we're really excited to have him here. So it sounds like there's no direct relationship between Shanahan and Gregory, which is not surprising. But
Yeah, I mean, what are you supposed to say? This is a,
well, it's
you
true.
know, what are you supposed to say? It's like, oh yeah, we're worried about him possibly hurting the locker room when he comes in because of his history, but we really signed him because he's the best for right now, not for the future. Like, nobody's gonna say that. He's gonna say what he needs to say. Yeah, Randy has a history, and quite frankly, the trajectory of his career would be kind of different if he didn't have that off-field history, right? But styles make fights, and this is what we need him for. We need an ad hoc uh third-party contractor, if you will. We're outsourcing an issue that we need, right? We did the say a la Emmanuel Sanders, right? A la Charles Omenihu. Let's just hope that he sticks, right? Because then you have guys like Charles Omenihu, where Charles came here, but he found a team when he came here. He was very superfluous about his praise of the locker room, the culture, the coaching, the knowledge of football that he was getting, the change in his career, how he felt more empowered by being actually coached hard and being consulted with. And don't quote me on this, but I do remember just off the top of my head, now I'm talking about it, he did bring up a point, probably I think in last year's training camp, where it was kind of like the first time he had a chance to speak to the media since he had been traded midseason. And he brought up flatly, man, I wish I would have came here in the beginning of my career. It would be completely different for me had I come here in the beginning of my career. Right. So we've got a good locker room. One of the things that does travel with us across the league is the fact that we do have a good culture, and there's a lot of pros and there's a lot of men in the locker room, right? Who come from all different walks of life. We got Ivy Leaguers in the locker room. We got guys from Iowa. We got boys from Texas. We got boys from Florida and South Carolina. We got California boys. So if you can't get ingratiated into this type of locker room, then, you know, it ain't going to happen for you nowhere. But at the same time, let's just hope that, you know, we get the ring before we even have to find that out. And you never know. It may be a good story where Randy may come here and say, you know what? This is a fit. I'm tired of bouncing around. I got 2 bags, got paid out. And this is a winning team where I can go ahead and just put myself in a nice role here where they're not really asking me to be the tip of the spear. They're just asking me to hold down a use case, hold down a position that needs to happen on this defense for everything else to flourish. And I feel, and, you know, in a way, that's kind of what Javon Hargraves is here for, right? It's like, hey, man, you got your bag. Come in here and play around all of these great players and just do what you do well, right? We're not going to have that. We're not going to have you out in space asking you to do things that is, you know, pretty much a business decision and wear and tear on your body. And that's why I think that veterans of like a Randy Gregory's ilk do better here, because they come here and they already know that they're coming to a coaching staff who pretty much understands where they are in their career and what needs to be asked of them. I mean, even with D4 being hurt, right? His progression and his time here, he got every chance in the world. He got every contingency and all the respect of a veteran who's coming in here to play a role. He's trying to make his way on the field. And eventually it never really happened, but just how his stay happened here, you could tell that, you know, that could be Randy Gregory. That could be him coming in here and understanding his role and understanding the fact that his role is nowhere near as laborious as would it be if he was on another team getting much more money. So it could work out for both sides.
I mean, he's in the catbird seat. Every defensive end in the world should want to play on this line in his spot. This is a dream spot. When I asked Drake about being in this spot in camp, he's like, I said, how do you feel about being the starter opposite Bosa on this line? He's like, blessed. I feel blessed. This is the blessed spot.
He gets it.
Well, I mean, and Randy Gregory's going to produce. I have no doubt in my mind, because that's what the guy does, and he's going to get one-on-ones and he's going to win. This is the one concern I have. Longtime Niner fan says he has a habit of a lot of stupid penalties. That's more my concern than anything. But because he did jump off sides and some inopportune moments. I think he did it against the Niners in one of those playoff games. It really helped the Niners get a late second half first down when Dallas was trying to come back. But So that's more my concern. But that's really more, I think overall Gregory's issues could be solved by the Niner locker room. Maybe because, I mean, maybe he lacked a focus at certain times, but guess what? This is a very focused room. So if you lack focus, you're going to stand out like a sore thumb. So it's like, you know, a guy like him, I think, is going to benefit from being from Chris, from being on. He's definitely going to benefit being on this incredible line where he gets all these one-on-ones. Mm-hmm. And for the Niners, I think it's perfect because now you still have all the bullets in your gun. The trade deadline's Halloween.
Mhm.
That's 3 weeks away, roughly. You've got 3 weeks to look at your roster and look at the league. You got 41 million to play with. You got a full complement of picks. I mean, I was looking at the list of picks the Niners
It's
have.
crazy.
Yeah, I mean they have their own first. They have a second. They have 3 third-round picks, 2 fourth-round picks, one from Lance, 1 fifth-round pick, 2 sixth-round picks, and 2 seventh-round picks.
They're
I mean,
eating.
they got a bunch of picks. So they got a full complement of picks that they can trade if they wanted to. They have a ton of cap room, and they may have a need. Who knows? And right now, I would say the most severe need would be like corner. If you could get DJ Reed from the Jets or Patrick Surtain from Denver or, somebody like that, a top tier guy, that would really help. I think that would be the one piece that I would love to see the defense add. As far as the offense, I don't think there's going to be a chance for, really adding anything on the line. I just think that's just not. I think that's fool's gold.
It's not realistic.
Yeah,
anything that's
moves.
available now is not going to be worth its weight in gold. It's not.
I mean,
not now.
The only way you get a big time offensive lineman is if there's some kind of dispute. If like Laramie Tunsil doesn't get along with his team, or some offensive tackle decides he's warring with the head coach, something like that. You're not getting him just because teams just don't. It's never smart to trade those guys, and teams never do. But offensively, heck, if you're the Niners and Atlanta called and said, we'll give you Kyle Pitts, would you be interested if it didn't cost you a real high pick? I would. Looking at Dwelly and Warner, if I could get Kyle Pitts, I'd be very interested. If Arizona called and said, hey, you know what? We want a pick for Rondale Moore. We're shopping him. Would you take Rondale Moore for a late pick? Something that would make them even that much more dynamic. Because let's be honest,
Kyle Pitts is a stretch though, Larry. Kyle Pitts,
he's dynamic. You don't like him, or you do like him?
No, I love him.
Yeah, he's had injuries, and I just read a couple articles this week that he may be one of those guys that gets moved. That would be a guy that I would have a lot of interest in.
What are you hearing about Chase Young in Washington?
I'm hearing he's going to get moved.
Me too.
Yeah. So, I mean, that would be, now that you have Randy Gregory, do you need Chase Young? Brian Burns is supposedly still going to get moved.
Yeah, but Brian Burns is
expensive and costs
very expensive. And wherever he goes, that's it. Like wherever Brian Burns goes, Larry, they're going to have to pay him a bag. He's going to get Nick Bosa money.
Yeah. So, I mean, if I could add one piece of the puzzle to this team, I mean, I'd love a Rondale Moore speedster that stretches the field on offense, but, and I don't know that they would cost you a ton to get some speedy guy. Some people have suggested Hunter Renfrow, but I just don't see that. I think they got better guys right now.
We got Hunter Renfrow in the building. We don't need that.
Well, they got better guys. I mean, they're not even playing Tay Martin, and Tay Martin's got great ball skills, except he's bigger. So yeah, I mean, I like Hunter Renfrow, but I'm not trading for a guy with good ball skills when I got Ronnie Bell and Tay Martin and no balls to get them for the most part. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, and then also when I heard you talking about corner, right?
I love corner. To me, like when the Niners got Dion and they won that last Super Bowl, he had such an impact. And looking at Buffalo, KC, Philly, and Miami especially, if the Niners are going to get win the Super Bowl, that's the goal, man, it would really, if you get into Super Bowl Sunday, it would sure be nice to have either a little bit more speed or a little bit more dependability at corner. I mean, they have Womack, they have Luter coming back. I really love Kendall Sheffield, who they just signed from the Buckeyes, who runs 4.25. But one more, shutdown corner probably is what the doctor ordered.
Yeah, that's the point that I was going to make, is that I wouldn't be too hasty on go. The reason why I like the Randy Gregory move is because the spirit around it says that they are not panicking, right? I don't I don't want us to get ahead of I don't want us to get too far ahead of our skis, man, and go out here and try to get a name that is a splash guy. Like even with getting Patrick Surtain Jr., right? Phenomenal talent, right? I would be thrilled to have him, but you can't keep Patrick Surtain, Demo, and Travarius Ward. You know what I mean? You can't do that. That's a lot. Like when you pay.
I'll say this frankly. I'm not concerned about their cap situation. Win the Super Bowl. Deal with the cap later. I think if you're gonna win the Super Bowl in this atmosphere where there's so many good teams, you have to think that way. I mean, yeah, would the Rams trade their current plight for the fact that they won a Super Bowl? Probably not. They'd be like, we got the Super Bowl. And I think the 49ers need that Super Bowl so bad. They've been waiting so long. I think Jed needs it. John needs it. Kyle needs it. It validates this entire regime and so many made men on this team if they get this ring that I'm not as concerned about the cap right now when you're inside your window. Like, to me, this is the wrong time to worry about the cap. If you have a difference maker that you can get at the trade deadline and you're inside your Super Bowl window and you have $40 million to roll over, I'd almost rather make tough decisions next year and say goodbye to some Hughes checks and some Kittles and some Armsteads and guys like that, and win on the heels of winning a Super Bowl, than not get that key piece, not get over the top, and then breaking the whole thing up.
All right, look, man, coming off desperate, man. Like, we don't like. You want to get
not
the
desperate
Super Bowl.
inside
You
your Super
get the
Bowl
Super
window.
Bowl.
I think I do.
But hold on,
think
but
if
let me
you're-
respond.
You gotta have
Let me
urgency,
respond to
man.
you.
You gotta have
Let me
urgency.
respond to you. Let me respond. What you think we've been doing all these years? We've had urgency. We've doubled down. We went out and got one of the most expensive running backs in the league, right? We've doubled down and gone out and we got the number one free agent in the league this
Right.
past offseason. Like, stop it with the let me chill. Not you, but you can't sit here and say, oh, we got to put pedal to the metal now. Like, we've been doing it. There's a way how to do it. Like, we could be able to walk and chew bubblegum at the same time. Yeah, we want to win a Super Bowl, but that don't mean cook the books. And at the same time, we do got enough money to keep what we have. It ain't like, man, that ain't our money. We don't got $42 million. That money's already spent. We got to keep Brandon Ayuk. We got to keep all these other guys. So you're sitting here looking at the 42 as if it's green. That's black. That ain't green money. That's money that's already spent. So
yeah, but
it's not like we
what's it
got
gonna cost?
42 to chill. You
I
know
mean,
what I'm saying? So
I-
you don't, you see, like,
I'm saying
you
go
make
for
the
it.
Randy Gregory move. The Randy Gregory move makes sense for our team.
Well, that's
But
a
you
no
don't-
doubter.
But you
I mean,
know,
that doesn't cost
hold
them
on, and let
anything.
me finish this because I'll let you go. So what I'm saying is that you can only win a Super Bowl, but so much with acquisitions. The guys still got to come in and do it, right? So even if you go balls to the walls and say, I don't care, let's go all in, let's push it all out there, you still got to make sure the guys ain't hurt and they actually get on the field and do what they need to do. I like this move. It doesn't tilt us. It doesn't put us in a position where we're reaching for guys that we have to end up paying a boatload down the road for. And quite frankly, we need to be building through the draft. We haven't been doing that much because of what we did with Trey and because of how our draft has been hurt. And quite frankly, not a lot of our rookies are stepping up this year. How many rookies? I mean, Ronnie Bell's doing a good job. The kicker's doing a good job. But our classes usually come in and actually give good production right away. We're not necessarily seeing that this year. So I'm kind of looking at us being able to do a lot of different things at once, not just go get a Super Bowl, throw caution to the wind, cook the books. And then you're saying a lot of these guys need it. A lot of these guys need this feather in their cap. They'll get the validation. What that sounds like is a lot of good fortune for them, The fans are the ones who are going to have to put up with the fallout after they win their Super Bowl and all of a sudden they're validated. You don't get contracts and you don't get money for what you did. What you did get you to the table for you. It gets you the opportunity. You get the contracts and you get the money for what you're going to do, right? For what's expected of you. So I just feel as though that we get a little caught up in this do it all for the Super Bowl, do it all for 6. It's giving a lot of like let down energy after we win it, in my opinion. So yeah,
Well,
you could
I
be
mean,
tilted to get your Super Bowl, but let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater just so we can have a Super Bowl. Like there's going to be a season after we win.
I think you have to have a greater urgency than that to win the Super Bowl. I don't think you just kind of like, hey, we're just going to do what we do and we'll get to the Super Bowl. I think you have to. You're right. They've been aggressive. They got to stay aggressive.
They've been aggressive,
and
right?
they've got $40 million to play with. So it's not like
to play with. Don't say that.
It is to play with. I'm saying $40 million to. I'm not saying they can add $40 million of players before the deadline. I'm saying they got $40 million to go to bring back Ayuk or not, bring back Armstead or not, bring back 4 or 5 of their guys or not. They're inside their Super Bowl window, and they're clear. This is a no doubter move because it didn't cost them anything. I mean, literally, it did not cost anything. $840,000 of cost inherited is no financial gain, no financial burden, and the draft pick may literally be back-to-back picks. The Niners easily could wind up being the Super Bowl champion, and the Broncos could easily wind up being the worst team in the league. They could literally that trade it could amount to exactly one draft position if Denver goes on to be the worst team in the league. So it's a slam dunk in every way imaginable. All I'm saying is there's no reason to run this marathon, get to mile 25 and run out of gas. You're going to get a great group of receivers, whether it's going to be Philly or if it's going to be Detroit or if it's going to be Kansas City or if it's going to be Buffalo or Miami. You're going to get a big-time group of receivers. And if you could get one more corner and it didn't ruin you, I'd take $5 million of that salary cap, $40 million, and give it to Surtain. Absolutely. I absolutely would. And I wouldn't be afraid of trading a pick or two. I don't know if I want to trade my first because I think I have that earmarked for a tackle, but I think they're absolutely in their go mode. And what I'm saying is that nobody really cares at the end of the day if you did or, it's about did you get it or did you not? And it's like these guys, it's not, we're in that kind of a society where, Jed York is a very rich man, but he does have Dr. John York and Denise DeBartolo York kind of looking over his shoulder. I think if he gets this Super Bowl, that probably goes away. And Kyle Shanahan's a Hall of Famer if he gets this Super Bowl. And John Lynch is already a Hall of Famer, but John Lynch's career is just as an executive is completely validated by this because, he's a Hall of Fame safety, but now he would be a Super Bowl architect. So I just think those guys have a lot on the line. But more than anything, the locker room, I'm in there all the time. These guys know they have a special group of talent. They know that they've got a lot of good players here, and they know they haven't gotten it done yet. So there is this kind of like, when they lost to the Chiefs, it was like, we'll have another opportunity. We'll be better next time. We're here before our time. Now there's this feeling like of almost like the sand is slipping through the fingertips and it's going away. And I just think there's an urgency to the entire organization this year, and they're all about getting this Super Bowl. So I think this is also an awesome move for the Niners getting Gregory, simply from the standpoint they need him really bad, and it solves, I think, one of their needs without costing really anything. And now if they have another need that they feel like they can fill, they still have the resources to go do it and roll over plenty of money to re-sign Ayuk and keep their core intact. So I think they're in a good position. I really do. And I think they're also in a position where you know what? You're going to look at these other teams and what they're doing, and how do you match up? Because like right now, I don't know what Darrell Luter is, and I'm not sure what Womack's going to be coming off the IR, and I don't know if I can trust Ambry Thomas. And I'm not really sure about Isaiah Oliver. You know what I mean? I got some question marks in this secondary. So I want to take, if I'm Lynch, I want to take the next 3 weeks and really just see how do they play. And maybe they don't need anything, but maybe they do. And if they do, I think he's going to act. I think they're going to remain aggressive right through that deadline. I'd be shocked if this was the last deal they made. I bet you they will make at least one more. And my guess is they might even pay a little bit more.
Yeah, so I don't necessarily disagree with the fact with them needing or wanting to make more moves before the deadline. I just hope that it's in the same ilk as Randy Gregory. You know, I want somebody who's affordable. I want somebody who can add on to what we do. I just don't. All right, in my opinion, I feel like the only position on this team where we could ingest a true starter, right? Like a guy of like a Patrick Surtain or a Brian Burns, where like he's coming in, he's starting, right? This is a big piece. Would be a right tackle, right? And there are no right tackles around at this stage of the game unless,
I mean, people say Tristan Wirfs, but I'll believe that the day that it actually happens. I just don't believe it. I don't really believe that any good young tackle ever is available. Like, the one guy I could picture maybe being available, Coach, is Trent Brown from New England. Is he still New England, right? Isn't he Patriot?
Yeah.
I could see him if they fell out of the race. You know, he makes some good money, and I could see them moving him. But I mean, they're not going to be a bunch of tackles out there to be traded for, and it's just so hard to get. They're very difficult to get. So
yeah,
I mean,
like we had just discussed, I don't mind us making any more moves. I could see us doing something at corner, right? If we were to do something at offensive line, it would be because we needed a starter. You know, those are linchpin positions where once they play, they play. So I could see us probably doing something at nickel. Maybe if there was an injury at receiver. I don't even really see that because we have enough guys in the building. I know you don't know what Darrell Luter Jr. is, but they were very high on him coming out of the draft. And they were very high on him. And once they saw him play for the little limited time that he had at OTAs and minicamp,
he looked great. He looked great.
Right. I would be very interested in seeing what he can do for us. And, we also talked with Coach Wilkes throughout preseason and the days coming up to the draft. I mean, not the draft, but the season, where Coach Wilkes talked about how they had a bevy of players, that they had different scenarios and situations for. You see what I'm saying? So I see this as a labor of love, man. I don't necessarily think this is a plug and play situation where they just go out and get a guy. Now, all things change if they feel as though that they're really hot, right? The NFL changes that way. If somebody gets hurt on a team that competes with us, a certain quarterback gets hurt, or if anything's happened, then you can kind of see the arms race, and you may see a little bit of keep away. Like, I do believe that there was a little bit of the Christian McCaffrey factor that happened with the Randy Gregory situation. There were some other teams that were vying for Randy Gregory who were actually going to play us this season. So there may have been a little bit of a more incentivized motive to pick up Randy Gregory so certain teams don't pick him up, a la the Rams with Christian McCaffrey last season. So there's so many different ways to skin a cat as far as knowing what guy we need, when to get him, what type of guy do we need, how can we keep him in the building? Is he a rental or is he somebody who we want to keep for a long-term situation? Is he older or young enough? And the injuries across the league on who is the next team that wants the guy that we want, and do we have a problem with conceding, right? Letting this other team get this guy. So there's so many different shades of this whole little trade deadline carousel that John and Adam Peters are running through right now. So what I don't want out of everything that I just said is what we talked about in the very beginning. It would be a head scratcher to see us get a blockbuster guy. It would. I feel like we're a very good team, and you know, I want to keep the team together. And I feel as though that if we can't get it done with this team, right, without adding on a Randy Gregory, like tweaks, package guys, then we kind of were hurting from the beginning of the season to begin with, right? I like them making this move because it does show that they did give Cleveland Farrell and Drake Jackson and Kerry Hyder, they gave him a shot. Like, hey, we're going to run. And to the almost, if you want to be fair about it, to the production of Nick Bosa, right? Nick was been setting up a lot of these guys to get these sacks, to get back there and handle their business. And there's a lot of reps where he's really taking his initiative from zero. He's not getting any help, and he's breaking through doubles, splitting doubles. He's doing a lot to get back there, and he hasn't necessarily had the raw production of just sacks, but you do have to wonder if the Niners were looking at the first couple of games with Nick playing, saying, all right, are we going to be able to get through an entire season plus the postseason with Nick playing this hard? He needs some type of help of somebody who can go get a sack, go get quarterback pressure on their own. So I like what they did, but I feel as though the steps moving forward need to be to accentuate what we already have on the team, right? Because like I've said, I just don't see any other position outside of the right tackle spot being like a real plug and play. We need him, right? Barring injury.
It's funny. It's like there's needs and then there's opportunities. I almost feel like some of the best players that become available, it's more like an opportunity. Like I asked one of the veteran beat writers last year, right before the deadline, like literally one day, because I had heard all the rumors about McCaffrey. I said, "Hey man."
Oh, this is last year.
Last year. I said, "Hey
Okay.
man, you think the Niners are going to get McCaffrey, and do you think they should get McCaffrey?" And he's, you know what he said to me?
What?
He's like, "No, I don't think they're going to get him, and I don't think they should get him." And I'm like, "Really? Why?" Because he's like, "Because they don't need him. They have Elijah Mitchell and Jeff Wilson." And he was right. Right? The Niners had Elijah Mitchell and Jeff Wilson. They didn't need McCaffrey. But look at how good McCaffrey is compared to Elijah Mitchell and Jeff Wilson, right? So
Larry,
it's like
they did need Christian.
But I mean, I understood what he meant. What he was
Jeff
saying
was hurt. Jeff wasn't even healthy.
But I mean, what he was saying is, hey, these guys are solid, right? These guys are solid running backs, and that was a decent answer. It wasn't like when he said that, I wasn't like, what? You're nuts, man. I was like, you're right. They do have other guys, but Christian McCaffrey is an opportunity, and that they made the deal, got McCaffrey, and it was a tremendous opportunity. I almost feel like, you got to kind of play. You got to just give yourself kind of the flexibility by having cap room and having few needs to act when something becomes available. Miami obviously saw value in Chase Claypool. I like Chase Claypool. But
I like Chase Claypool too.
He was terrible at the end in Pittsburgh, and he was worse in Chicago, and he didn't want to block, and he just looked disinterested. So, but obviously Mike McDaniel, who knows a little something about offensive football, was like, yeah, bring him here. So Marshawn Lynch wasn't dominating in Buffalo, and then he went to Seattle, and he became,
took
beast
off
mode, awesome. So, I mean, sometimes guys just need a change of scenery. Randall says, Larry, you want Jamar Chase? He wants out. And then we got Randall now with a super who wants to double down. He says, being that Jamar Chase is asking for a trade out, would you want him or give the money to Ayuk? Well, I mean, do I want Jamar Chase? Yes, I do. I want Jamar Chase. I think
in this offense.
Do I think Jamar Chase is the best receiver in football? Yes, I kind of do. I know a lot of people like Jefferson. They're right there, 1A, 1. Who do you like more, Coach, between Jefferson and Chase?
Chase.
I do too. How about this? They both played at LSU.
Yep.
I mean, think about that for a second. That's amazing. They both are on the same college team. These are the two best guys going. I like Chase too. And I know Chase had that deal last week where he was like, I'm always effing open, and that got a lot of negative attention. But I did an interview with
I
Brandon
mean,
Allen.
that's what receivers do, though. That's
I
what you want
want
to
that.
hear.
Yeah,
you
I
want to
want
hear
that.
that from a receiver.
That's
I'm
the
always
dream.
open.
Like they've got receivers have to prance around like you can't cover me.
What was the name of Keyshawn's book?
Get me the damn ball.
Throw me the damn ball.
Oh, throw me the damn ball.
Yep.
But I asked Brandon Allen the other day about Jamar Chase, and he just said, I said, what stands out about his game? And he's like, he's just an exceptional all-around athlete.
Mm-hmm.
He's just, his movements, in and out of the break, everything's just natural because he's just exceptionally balanced, exceptionally strong, exceptionally quick, competitive at the catch point, all the traits, that you need.
And he'll block.
He's big time. I would, there's a guy. Do the Niners need Jamar Chase? No, they don't need Jamar Chase. They've got Debo. They've got Ayuk. They've got Jennings. They got all kinds of guys. But then it's Jamar Chase. And it's like, would you trade for Jamar Chase? Yeah, I would if he's available and I don't need him, and I would still trade for him because he's that special. That's what I'm saying about, they didn't need McCaffrey, but they got him, and now look how great they are. So, I don't know. It's a. I know what you're saying, though. It's a cap sport. You can't have everybody.
If you want to talk about selfish trades, right, where you're like, what would just put us over the top? In my opinion, another running back.
I've been saying Jonathan Taylor.
Another running back. I mean, if you look at how we get it done for what we do, Christian McCaffrey is the tip of the spear. And what he garners on the field as far as space, attention, tempo of play, controlling the clock, making blockers right. I mean, Jesus Christ, he does everything but paint the picket fence and cook dinner. I mean, Jesus, he does everything. I mean, you watch the film and you see how many players look good at their jobs simply because Christian has the ball. It really is that simple, right? And if for some forsaken reason he goes down or he misses time, it's not that I'm worried about the offense, right? I feel like Kyle is talented enough now that he has Brock to kind of keep it moving, right? But I feel like as far as running back is concerned, now that Elijah Mitchell is officially always hurt, that is just his MO now. It's not occasionally, right?
He has hurt a lot.
He's hurt a lot. He's got the tag now. Now that you have that, man, I'm not here to cast any type of disparaging comments on what we have at running back behind Elijah Mitchell, but it is a huge drop off between JP Mason and Christian McCaffrey. That is a huge drop off, right? So in my opinion, Christian is why this offense is moving at such a high clip. We had everybody here that we had last year, and we were averaging 19 points a game. It was Christian that came here and changed it all. So for me, if I'm gonna do it your way, right, then I'm gonna, I'm able to accept more than one idea. So yeah, let's do it your way. Let's go and see how we can look at the league from a leveraged position where, man, we can go get somebody to really put us over the top. If that's what you want to do, then I would do it at running back. Right? Because we need another guy. And then on top of it, even if you get a running back that is there when Christian isn't hurt, imagine putting them both on the field and split backs, Lord, or putting them in the eye and having them in strong off right or tight eye and having one at fullback and one at H. I mean, it could be crazy, but that's what I would do. If we had to get a gotta have it now, blank check type guy to get us to Super Bowl, kind of like a hired X Factor gun, I get another running back.
I mean, it would help out everybody. It would help out Brock. It would help out the defense. It would help out everybody. I mean, the Niners already run at the second highest rate in the NFL. They run 52.6% of the time.
And then Dallas, really, if you look at the passing game, the passing game is just another extension of the run game. All of those screen passes, those now routes, even the score that Christian McCaffrey had that he hurdled old boy down to the end zone. that goes down in the books as a pass, but that ain't nothing but an extended handoff. He just threw him a little screen. It was 5 yards in the air and he took off. So
No, it went down as a run because it was a lateral.
Good. I'm glad it did. You know what I'm saying? Because, so our run game is our game. It is our game. You know what I'm saying?
The Niners are averaging 153 per game on the ground right now. That's third best in the NFL. They average also 4.6 a carry, which is seventh best. They run the hell out of the ball, but I agree. I mean, think about it. If you really want to win the Super Bowl, you got to have a group of difference makers who touch the football. That's how Dallas did it in the 90s. That's how the Niners did it the last time they won. That's how several teams do it. You got to have the weapons that you have to be special. Well, the Niners have special weapons, but if you could add a Jonathan Taylor, I mean, that just makes them that much more special. And I do kind of agree that while it looks like they're super loaded at running back, the more you look at it, I mean, like the one guy who's out this week is Elijah Mitchell. He's out with the knee injury, and I think Feliciano still has the concussion. Everybody else is going to go for the Niners. They come into this game relatively healthy. But Elijah Mitchell has got a big man's game and a small man's body. And his best thing is his ability to pick and slide between the tackles, but he's 200 pounds.
Yeah.
It's funny, the book on him coming out was 4.3 speed. His greatest thing is that he has great instincts between the tackles, and he knows how to pick and slide, and he knows how to kind of maximize every run and that kind of thing. But he doesn't play like the 4.3 burner, and for the most part, he can't stay healthy. So you can't really depend on him. J.P. Mason is big and strong, but you get the feeling that any monster hit and he's going to put the ball on the carpet. And then Ty Davis-Price has got some ability, there's no doubt, but there's something missing there. I mean, he's not like elite by any stretch. So you've got starting caliber backs, but I don't know. I think it's a little bit of a mirage. I think McCaffrey makes it so those guys don't have to play that much. I don't know if Mitchell can stay healthy. I don't know if the other two guys are dependable. One more big-time back might be exactly what they need to get over the top. But I look at it more as a block because if Dallas gets Jonathan Taylor, they're way better. And they're a one running back team. And teams like Miami and Baltimore and some of these teams that are Super Bowl contenders talking about getting him, I think that would make them quite a bit better. So Jonathan Taylor, I'd be interested just because.
I think they extended him. Actually, I think Indy just extended John
today?
Taylor. Yeah, I think they extended him. So I mean that's
so
pretty much
he's probably going nowhere.
Point. Yeah, with JP, the reason why all right, confession. So the reason why I brought up the running back free agency hypothetical is because that's what I truly do believe. I think that we should start getting JP Mason on the field more. And I saw that last week. He caught a nice a seam route coming out of the backfield. They're trying to get him ingratiated with the passing game so he knows what he's doing out there, especially in pass protection. But they need to play more. Running back is not one of those positions where, you could just plug and play a guy. He needs to get a little bit more feel. And JP Mason does tend to put the ball on the carpet. So, I understand that Christian is doing an amazing job, but from the numbers, he's being used at a very high clip. I mean, he's like damn near averaging. He's going to like maybe hit over 500 touches. Right. And that's a lot, man. Like, and I know, and I understand that what he's given us in the 4 games that he's done, it's amazing. And it is, right? There's nothing to take away from what he's done, but the game just like I do know, like I know, right? It's like the kid out of Colorado, Travis Hunter, when Dion was saying that this kid is going to play over 100 snaps and play both ways, and he's hurt. Right? He's done already. So it's like, all I'm saying is I understand how this team is built after 4 games. They've done a very good job at being able to show us their ethos, right? Because they started out fast. So we know how they're built. All I'm saying is that we don't want to wear him into the ground because a lot of what we do is based off of Christian McCaffrey either being on the field or being in a certain area of the field where he's a mismatch. And at the clip that Kyle is using him, he's being used a lot.
No doubt. No doubt. Yeah, no, I mean, if they could find some extra help in the backfield, I think, that's the other thing, too. If it's one look with Christian healthy, but he's being used a ton, and if he's not healthy, do you feel confident in the other guys? And if not, is there a back out there that you like that you could add? We got a bunch of supers I want to get to, and I also have a couple direct questions I want to get into with you as well on some of these other angles on this game specifically. But first, let's mention to people that the Krueg Show brought to you by Mojo Fantasy. That's right, Mojo Fantasy has introduced a whole new way to play fantasy football this season. It works by entering into contests and building portfolios of players, and the props you pick act like stocks. You can buy and sell a player stock live all game long. And that's it. You just make picks, and you make moves, and you make money. So check the link in the description. Make sure you use the promo code Krueg, Krueg, and you'll get up to $100 matched on your first deposit, courtesy of Mojo Fantasy. All right, let's hit some of these supers right here. For Life Niners says CMC makes a touchdown, then runs to the middle of the field and lays the ball on the SF. A la T.O. That's what he wants to see.
Yeah.
I can see that.
That's
we got this one from Papa Phil. He says we should have got Jordan Willis back when the Raiders cut him. I believe he's on the beach, isn't he? You could probably get Jordan Willis.
Now that would be, you see, like, okay, Papa Phil, I
practice
like
somewhere.
I like that. I like that, man. Like, that's the type of pick that you get, right? We know him. Jordan Willis was a solid guy for us. He won games for us. Underrated. That's the pick, right?
Yeah,
that's a Niners pick right there. I like that. Like,
I like Jordan Willis more than I like Cleveland Farrell.
Yeah, me too.
I
would do that. That's more of the line of what I'm talking about. Like, sometimes I get a little like nervous sometimes because I feel like I come off as like not being a fan, right? Like I'm against the team, but I just believe that there's a way that you can.
Why are you against us, Coach? Why are you against us?
Well, all right, it's hilarious that now you say us and you finally let us know that you're a fan instead of
why are you against us? Why are you against us? Why you got to be?
No, but
why do you got to be against us fans?
That's a solid move right there. I like that move.
No, yeah, Jordan Willis makes a lot of sense, and Clee Farrell, if you're watching this, love you, but no, I'm going Jordan Willis. He's a little faster right now, closing to the quarterback, and if you can get him, I'd get him, and if he's gettable, I think they probably will. I really do, because that's the one area they're looking to stash some guys. They know. John Lynch is a smart football guy. He knows. Everything I see, he sees. I see Jordan Willis and Menahew and Ebukam walking out the door and them drafting Beal, but he doesn't make the team because he's got injuries. Now he's in the practice squad. And then there's Farrell and Hyder. And Hyder, I told you all summer, it was looking long in the tooth. He just looked older this year. And it's just, he's more of a combo guy, and they were asking him to kind of play defensive end. He's just not a bend the edge kind of a guy. So anyway, Garland Boggs says all the talk about Purdy's could have been pick throws. How about the stat on all the throws that were in the catch radius and not caught this year? All right. Not sure what that's in reference to, but appreciate that. Douglas Fastiglia says super sticker, $5. Thank you. Thank you, Douglas. Appreciate you. He's coming back with another one, super sticker. Double super sticker from Douglas. Thank you, Douglas. Appreciate you, brother. Ken Konecki with a straight face say Ryan Tannehill is better than Brock Purdy. Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. Let's get into it.
Okay, hold on. We got this one from Ken. He says, please tell us the quarterbacks who are better than Brock. All right, well, maybe we'll get into that. David says, did the Gregory signing impact their draft capital? No, it didn't.
No.
Literally did not have any impact. It's one of the greatest deals in the history of the team from the standpoint it cost them nothing. Absolutely nothing. We got this one from For Life Niner coach. After we win, put the one in air bang bang Niner gang. Look at that.
I'm
Is that
putting it up, bro. I want this game.
Isn't
The
that your jet?
implications, huh?
Someday that's going to be coach. That's going to be the name of coach's jet or yacht.
Oh yeah, all day, all day. Bang bang one, air
Are
bang
you
bang.
more likely in the future, coach, to be the kind of guy that would have his own jet or have his own yacht?
Water for sure, man. I'm from out here on the tide, man. Water, boat.
I would love to have a Jerry Jones like yacht. Have you seen Jerry's boat?
It's a house.
Oh, I mean that is
It's a
just
house.
Come on. Matt McKeon, Taylor signed 3 years, $42 million with the Colts, and so that made that entire last conversation moot. Thank you for that. Drew versus coach. Can get that money now. Just throw up so fast. LOL. You're just grow up so fast. LOL. You're doing great, coach. Druber 89.
Thank you, man. I am monetized now, and we moving forward. And thank you, guys. The support has been tremendous, man. I want to thank Larry right here on stream for all of the help and support that you've given me, man. So it's been good, man. We're moving forward.
I said I wouldn't help. No.
Oh, I misheard you.
I said, get the hell off my lawn. I won't help anybody. No.
See you on Saturday.
Yeah, see you on Saturday, and don't be effing late. No, yeah. No, Coach is very, very good at this. He's got a very bright future, and I love streaming with him. And I got people who saying to me this week, "Well, you're fighting with the coach." I'm like, "Hey, look, we're going to disagree from time to time.
We're guys, man. Yeah,
let's talk about why we were fighting. No.
Okay,
I want to talk more about this matchup, Niners Cowboys, but we'll get into the super chat because the man did pay some money. I came out last week and said, I think Brock Purdy on Saturday is like the 8th best quarterback. And I defined best as only the way I defined it, which was guys that if they traded Brock Purdy for them and I was happy, then I would say that those guys are better than Brock Purdy. But if they traded Brock Purdy for a quarterback and I was unhappy, then I put that as they're not better than him. And I simplified it that way. So obviously when you do it that way, age and cost come into the equation because they're real trades. So I think Stafford's better than Purdy, but I had Purdy as better than Stafford on my list. Why? Because I'm saying if all of a sudden they announce tomorrow they're trading Purdy for Stafford, would I be happy? I wouldn't be because Stafford's so much older. Same with Rodgers. So I have Purdy 8th, but there's a few of those kinds of guys that are clearly better than Brock, but they just cost a lot more. They're a lot older. So that's how I did my list. So I had Purdy as the 8th best guy under that deal. Coach said, no. He's closer to 15 to 19. I came back and said, who are the guys that I don't have on my list that you have on your list?
Mm-hmm.
And then Coach said Tannehill. I erupted, and the whole thing kind of fell apart from there.
Yes, it definitely did.
But let me just say this: the guys that I had down are the no-brainers, and we could just get those out of the way. And then Coach wants to throw his. Here's who I had down. I had Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar, Jalen Hurts, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow. I've had a couple people push back and tell me that they would have taken Lawrence off the list and added Tua, but I went with Lawrence. So there you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I have Purdy as the 8th best quarterback over Prescott, Goff, Tua, Rodgers, Watson, Cousins, Russell Wilson, Stafford, and the rest. Mm-hmm. So that's where, Coach, you said you had 15 to 19. So forget 19 for a second. Just take my 7, and then there's 8 more. Who are the other 8 that you think are better than Brock? And one of them was
Tannehill. I believe the operative word was today. Right?
I just said better than. Yeah, today.
Yeah, right. So today, I would take Ryan Tannehill over Brock Purdy. I'd take Kirk Cousins over Brock Purdy. I'd take Josh Allen, Matt Stafford. I'd take Jared Goff, Trevor Lawrence, and Tua. I'd also take CJ Stroud over Brock Purdy right now, today. I'd take Justin Herbert over Brock Purdy. And I know that a lot of you would think that this is wild, but I would take Joshua Dobbs over Brock Purdy. So we're talking about Brock Purdy in all of these quarterbacks in the 49ers offense, I think would do better than Brock Purdy.
Well, let me focus on the one that you said first, and that was Tannehill. Why Tannehill, Coach? Because Tannehill is 2-2 this year. He's completing 62% of his passes. He has 2 touchdowns. He has 4 interceptions. And his team is what? 2-2.
Yeah, I mean, the team he's on his ass.
He had one game where he had 3 interceptions.
Yeah, I mean, the team he's on his ass for sure. I mean, I'll give you that. But the quarterbacks that I named will be playing with the 49ers, with our offense, with Christian McCaffrey and Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, and George Kittle. And I think that these quarterbacks will be able to operate the offense at a better clip than Brock.
Okay. Well, I mean, so
but you see, hold on,
kind of like you're saying.
Before you respond, let me say this: I'm doing what you want to do. You want to name names as who's better than Brock today. You have Brock as the 8th best quarterback in the league today. And right now, the conversation leans toward you because we're undefeated and we're in week 5 of the season. But you want to have the conversation today. So I'm giving you the quarterbacks who I believe would be able to be better in this offense than Brock. Those are the quarterbacks that I think if you brought them over here, I wouldn't be mad if we had CJ Stroud over Brock. I wouldn't be mad if we had Matt Stafford over Brock, or Josh Allen, or Jared Goff, or Trevor Lawrence, or Tua. I wouldn't be mad at having those quarterbacks over Brock. I wouldn't be mad at having Kirk Cousins over Brock. There's nothing wrong with saying that, right? And what's crazy is I'm saying something offensive. There's nothing wrong with.
I don't get how you can have Tannehill on here and have CJ Stroud. Why? Why both?
Well, I feel like what CJ Stroud is showing right now is, I feel like his accuracy and what he can do right now is good for where he is in his career. This is the first year this kid has ever played ball in the NFL. He looks good. I take him.
I'm not saying
the Niners.
You just did take him, but I'm just saying. So you have a young up and coming guy who hasn't done much yet, and you're going off a glimpse there. But then you have Brock, who's also
Brock is a glimpse, Larry.
Right, but I'm just saying Brock's a glimpse, and he's never lost. CJ Stroud's a glimpse, but then Tannehill, who's not a good player career, he's in his career, Coach, he's 64%, 214 touchdowns, 112 picks. He's not terrible. I'm not saying he's terrible.
Yeah, I'm waiting for you
he's
to.
He's 80 and 67. I like him. I'm an A&M fan. I mean, he was a wide receiver.
I'm sitting here trying to figure out.
But you would take honestly, 35-year-old Ryan Tannehill, who's got 4 interceptions this year, and is only thrown for 2 touchdowns. You would take him over Brock Purdy right now?
Yeah.
All right. Wow. Difference of evaluation there, because that one I don't get. I mean, if you want to say Stroud, I get it. You could say, hey, look, Stroud looks to me like, Stroud is no different than me putting Trevor Lawrence.
I'm about to go on PFF right now and look at, because I don't even do this, but I'm about to go on PFF. Hold on. Rankings.
Tannehill over Purdy, though.
They've got Brock Purdy ranked 17th on PFF. And they've got Ryan Tannehill.
I really wonder about
Ryan
PFF.
Tannehill above him. They got him at 14.
So are you kind of saying that PFF thinks that Brock is a product of what, Kyle?
No, that's not what I said. We're not doing that. I'm not trying to say that Brock is a product of Kyle. I'm saying that Brock's
a product of having all these weapons, you mean?
Brock is a product of being in the right situation. This is a good
includes
situation.
Kyle and all these weapons.
Yeah, Brock himself is good. I don't feel like Brock came in as some wayward soul that the 49ers just picked up off the ground and taught him how to throw the ball and really just completely pieced together his skill set. That's not what I'm trying to say. But what I'm trying to say is that Brock is doing extremely well. He's doing extremely well, but
Tannehill would do better.
Yeah, in my opinion, yes.
Wow. Okay. Just trying to
even for what
trying
Brock
to understand
doing,
that.
Hold on. Even for what Brock is doing, I don't want you to be offended. Like, we can accept different ideas, right? We can have.
I just don't agree. I just don't agree.
All I'm saying is,
I'm not a Tannehill guy.
I don't mind you agree. I don't mind you disagreeing. All I'm saying is that Brock is 6th worth in turnover worthy plays. He's 21st in average depth of target, and he's 16th in big time throw rate. I need to see more. He's doing phenomenal. I love what he's doing. But I'm not going to sit here and say that Brock is number 8 overall. And you know what's crazy? I'm not reading the chat, but I guarantee you there are people in the chat who are more comfortable with calling me stupid, but agreeing with the fact that you think that Brock is 8th overall, sight unseen, and nobody bats an eye. That should let you know the type of situation we're dealing with.
Because I see, here's the thing. I set the parameters of how I define better, and you set your own parameters and ignored my parameters. So, my parameters were we're not talking apples to apples. We're not talking apples to apples because if we were talking apples to apples, then you would have taken my parameters and picked guys based on my parameters. You took your own parameters, so we're not. When you say 8th, you're saying he's the 8th best guy. I'm saying there are 8 quarterbacks in the league that I would be happy to trade Brock for. That's what I'm saying. That's different than saying he's the 8th. Because you're going with older guys.
You're gonna make me pull it up.
I don't want Kirk Cousins. I don't want Kirk Cousins. And Niner fans. Wait a second. Let me just make my point. Niner fans don't want Kirk Cousins either for Brock Purdy. So, but you do on your list.
Why are you shaping your words this way? Niners fans don't, but you do. Like, listen to what I'm saying to you, Larry. What I just said is true. Hold on, Larry. You just said that you have never said that Brock Purdy was the 8th best quarterback in the league. Larry, you knew those. You do know these shows are recorded. You have been saying that for weeks.
As I defined it. You said because better is not like a legal term. Better is how are you defining better?
That's a lot of wordsmithing you're doing, bro.
No, it's not. No, it's not. I said better is players I would rather. You would trade Brock Purdy for Kirk Cousins. I would not.
I wouldn't trade Brock at all. I would take
that was the premise of this.
No, it wasn't trading him. All I'm saying is that if there were other quarterbacks in this offense that I think could operate it better than Brock, and you said that there were 8 guys that you thought could, everybody else couldn't.
No, I didn't. I said there were 8. No, that's not what I said. I said there were 7 quarterbacks that I would be happy to trade Brock for straight up right now, today. That's what I said. 7 quarterbacks that I would trade him straight up for. And all I asked you is how many would you have? And then you said you threw out this whole list, but then now I'm saying the guys on your list you would trade for Brock or would not? Would you trade Brock for Cousins?
No. Well, the situations, no. Well, the money.
Would you trade Brock for Tannehill?
Hold on. And this is another thing you're doing.
I'm not changing anything. I'm staying consistent.
Let me finish a thought. All right. So what you're doing is either you're talking about the actual skill set of the quarterback, right? Or and we've gone over this before. I keep saying this, go back and look at the shows. Your scenario has 2 different criterias. It's either the pound for pound skill set of the quarterback who you're comparing Brock with, or the situation of where the quarterback is with his money, his age, and where he is in the league. Those are 2 different things. And we use that example by highlighting Matt Stafford. You yourself said in the very beginning, you said, I wouldn't take Matt Stafford over Brock Purdy because of his money, because of the injury history. And I said, yes.
Right.
But Pound for pound, though, do you think that Brock Purdy is a better quarterback than Matt Stafford? And you acquiesced. You said no. I know that Matt Stafford is a better quarterback than Brock Purdy.
Right.
So
right.
there are two sides of the debate that you're giving me by your criteria of better. Either you're going to stay on one side and look at quarterbacks that you truly believe are better or worse than Brock in the offense, full stop. Or you're going to look at players that you want to trade for because not only do you like the skill set that they have, but you think that their situation with their money and where they are in the league juxtaposed to where their career is compared to Brock, that's more favorable for you. So you named your 7 players that you think that the skill set with their situation in the NFL would fit better and look better than a Brock situation. I gave you players who I just think are better than Brock in the offense. That's it.
All right. Now I'm going to ask you a different question.
Okay.
How many quarterbacks in the league would you trade for Brock Purdy and feel good about? Would you trade Brock Purdy for and feel good about?
I don't know.
Since Cousins now is not on the list, right?
I wouldn't trade for Kirk Cousins.
And Tannehill, is he on the list?
No.
Okay.
I wouldn't trade.
So now this is the list I want to hear from you. Is how many quarterbacks in the league would you feel good today trading Brock Purdy for? I have 7.
Right.
I'm just wondering how many you have.
I mean, this is something that we again talked about that we didn't, but I'll go ahead and do it.
If you want to, if we can do it next week.
I'll do it. I'll do it. No, I'll do it. So I would be good trading with Patrick Mahomes. I'd be okay trading for Josh Allen. I'd be okay trading for Lamar Jackson. I'd be okay trading for Justin Herbert. I'd be okay trading for CJ Stroud. I'd be okay trading for Dak Prescott. I'd be okay trading for Jalen Hurts. I'd be okay trading for Jordan Love. I'd be okay trading for Joe Burrow. I'd be okay trading for that'd be about it. Did I mention Trevor Lawrence?
Yes.
How many is that?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10.
So we just went through 2 whole shows, a blow up, and a show and a half to finally come out to the fact that we're 2 players off.
3, maybe.
3.
You have Stroud, Dak, and Jordan Love.
This is how reactionary this Brock Purdy bullshit is, man.
No,
this is
we're
what
going
I
in
mean
different directions.
Stuff,
we're going in different directions.
I'm
not changing. I'm not moving the goalposts. We're having different. We're having different standards, and I reacted to your standard, and you reacted to mine. I overreacted to your 15 to 19 because you have your own standard. You overreacted to my
PFF
8
has
because
him at 17, though.
But I don't care. At the end of the day, I don't
ever want to hear you mention
Steven
PFF
Ruiz
again,
has him at 26. So what? From the Ringer. I mean, you saw that. Mm-hmm. This is what Shanahan said this week when asked about his, is Brock a product of a system, which is different than what we're talking about. But this is what he said to that. I asked him this question. Here's Shanahan.
Mm-hmm. Kyle, you've had a lot of success with a lot of different quarterbacks in your system. What would you say to those who say that Brock is still largely a product of your system?
That's pretty ridiculous. You just got to watch the tape. He plays at a high level every time he's been out there. He's done it in a lot of different situations versus a lot of different defenses. On the road, at home, playoff games, when injured. He can't do all that stuff. He's been out there too long. It's on tape.
There you go. Now, there's 2 ways to look at that. There's the what's he supposed to say angle, which is the obvious comeback. What's he supposed to say about his quarterback? Yeah, so it was an easy opportunity for him to back Brock, and he backed Brock. Mm-hmm. But I think what he's saying there is he's trying to be self-deprecating because, believe me, Kyle Shanahan puts a lot into his offensive system, and I'm sure that he has confidence that it works. Mm-hmm. But that is the pushback on the people who say, anybody could do it. And there are people this week that are going around basically saying, yeah, anybody could do it. This guy Ruiz from The Ringer, and I don't really know who he is, so I don't want to give him too much, credibility, but he's like, I watched the film and I don't even see what Brock does. Mm-hmm. So there are people that don't see anything special about Purdy, and are just like, you know what? He's good, but I don't see anything really special. And then there's this. I'm going to give you one more here, Coach. This is a different reaction in the locker room that I got the other day after the last game. Mm-hmm. Went up to Drake in the locker room and asked him about Brock. Here's what he had to say when I asked him a little bit about Brock.
That's what when you're resting on offenses on the field. You watching Brock Purdy? He was 20 of 21 today.
Goat. Little baby
Little
goat.
goat?
I can't call him the big goat
Baby
right
goat?
now because his second year. So, but yeah, for sure, man. That kid is nice.
Talk to us about what you see though with him because he's getting it done right now.
He just does what's in his scheme. Doesn't do too much. Doesn't do not enough. He just does what he's supposed to. Sees his targets and hits it. That's all he's worried about. He's just doing his job.
He's a pretty humble guy in here. You don't see him. He doesn't not a chest thumping guy, but he's a hell of a competitor. Purdy.
Yeah. Super competitive, man. You can look at him right now. He's over there just chilling, relaxing. Like he didn't just have a 20 for 21 game. But, yeah, man, that's what you like, though. A guy who's just regular.
There you go. So there's the players have their perspective on him. The fans have their perspective. There's going to be people who don't respect him and this and that. That's just the way it is. But at the end of the day, I think he's winning over that room of guys. I don't know if it can continue. Eventually, he's going to lose games. Maybe this is the game he loses. But right now, you got a room full of guys who are like, hey, man, this is our guy. We're backing our guy, which you would expect. What's your takeaway there on I'll ask you the direct question. Is Brock in any way a product of this system?
Yeah.
You do. You believe that?
Yeah.
Shanahan says that, but so you think Shanahan just said that because he had to say that? He didn't really believe that. You think he just had to say that to back his guy?
No. I think Kyle believes that Brock is a product of his system too. I think that he also believes that Brock is a player within of himself as well. He has his own skill set, but he is a product of his system. Brock couldn't do this across the league in a different system.
Shanahan said he thought that idea was ridiculous, though. But you just think that he's backing his guy.
Yeah, I think he's backing his guy.
Yeah.
You think? Hold on. So let me ask you: do you think that Brock would? Hold on. Let me just finish. Ask you a real question. Do you think that Brock would be able to carry this type of success and be undefeated and throw it outside of this system across the league? Do you?
Well, undefeated.
Just yes or no.
Undefeated.
Just yes or no.
Undefeated. There's a lot of talent here. So I don't think he would be undefeated in every other spot. It's not like Brock Purdy is the only reason the Niners are undefeated. No way. They're undefeated because of Ayuk and McCaffrey and their defense. And, come on, it's football, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody can lift the team. But I think he'd be playing. I think the same traits that he has. So, like, if he's calm, he'd be calm in Detroit. If he's accurate, he'd be accurate in Detroit. Mm-hmm. If he's now on this team, you can throw it 10 yards and Debo can make somebody miss.
There's nothing wrong with saying that, though.
There's lots of weapons.
Yeah, like
there's lots of, and there's great play calls. I think Mahomes is great, but I think he's greater because of Reed. I think Purdy's really, really good, but I don't think there's any doubt that he's better because he's a Niner and in this system and with these weapons. Personnel's personnel. So this is pro football. You have to have players. You can't You're not getting it done. Like if you put Brock on the Raiders, well, the Raiders have some weapons. If you put Brock on a team that had no weapons, whoever the weakest weapon team in the league is, he'd still be Brock, but he wouldn't be undefeated. No, I'm not, But I will say this, some of these guys that don't get any credit, like I watched Sam Howell the other day. Sam Howell could throw the hell out of the football. He made some amazing plays the other night against the Bears. So, it's like some of these guys we don't watch a lot. It's like when you watch him, you get a different appreciation for him. I think people are starting to feel that way about Brock now that they're watching him. They're like, well, wait a second. This isn't all that accidental. This kid processes what he sees. He's really, really smart and decisive, and he's throwing the ball accurately right now. And even weird stuff. Like, they had some weird stuff in the plan this week. I don't know if did you see the Chase Daniel thing, Coach, where he's like, I've never seen a quarterback drop into a left-handed drop and then flip his hips like that?
No,
I mean, the Niners had Brock do that twice in this game where he dropped back to pass looking like he was Steve Young in a left-handed stance, like he was going to throw it left-handed, almost to show that he was going to throw it left to the left side of the field, only to have him then flip back and throw right. I mean, it was wild to watch that. And right now he's in this offense. He's seeing it. The ball's coming out on time. Is this the game, though, that Purdy, in your mind, throws interception number 1? Dallas?
I don't know.
Dallas has got.
I mean, yeah. So Brock's never going to throw a pick the whole game. He's not.
The whole year.
He's not going to throw a pick the whole year. My thing is that I'm looking for Brock to just progress with what he has. This is going to be pretty much the best defense that he's seen this week. And I'm really anxious to see how Brock responds, how Kyle puts him in the best positions to be successful, and how the rest of the team responds. The Cowboys are a very good defense, even without Trevon Diggs, especially in their secondary. So we'll have to see what he does, right? But I'm looking for him to continue the success that he has because he knows this offense. The processing of running this offense is bar none. I've never seen a quarterback see an offense ran like this. So, yeah, I don't know if this is the game where he'll throw a pick. I have no idea about that, but it's going to be the best. It's going to be the best defense he's seen this year thus far.
It's definitely, to me, this is the most pressure he'll probably face all year. Mm-hmm. The interesting thing that I didn't realize that I saw in the notes, Cowboys, by the way, have 7 picks. 7 picks on the year. Only Buffalo has more. Buffalo's got 8. So, if at some point Purdy's going to throw a pick, I would think this is the game, right? Just simply because, Dallas is just so good at taking the ball away. But then you look at this number. Purdy has torched man coverage. He's been top 3 in QBR, yards per attempt, and touchdown to interception ratio against man coverage since the start of last year. And now here come Dallas, and the Cowboys play man coverage at the highest rate in the NFL since the start of last season. So what do you think? Do you think this is just a bad matchup and Purdy's going to pick apart man coverage? Or do you think the Cowboys are going to mix it up and throw an array of different looks at him and try to confuse him? Give me your thoughts on what, if we're talking Niners offense, Cowboys defense, Coach, what are you expecting to see?
Us, a heavy dose of Christian McCaffrey, us running the ball. I think the most talented part of their defense is their pass rush. They're smaller. But we're smaller as an offensive line, right? So that's something that I am worried about. Dallas, they ran into Arizona. I really believe the reason why Dallas ran into Arizona was one, because Dak had a bad game. Dak did lose that game for them, in my opinion. But Arizona was just far bigger than them, especially on the offensive line. They were way bigger. And we don't have that type of offensive line where we're necessarily towering over teams or just, getting through the game with our sheer size and strength. I believe that with what Dallas has on their defensive line, with Lawrence and Micah, and they also have a reserve defensive tackle that I really like. He's coming in.
Who do you like?
Johnston, I think. what's his name?
Well, they also have Neville Gallimore, man, from Oklahoma. By the way, you watching Oklahoma, Texas, 17-17 in the Red River shootout. It's still a shootout here on
I haven't caught
YouTube.
no college ball today, man. I feel horrible.
5-0 Sooners, 5-0 Longhorns, 17-7. About 45 seconds until the half.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever gone to that game?
Never. Yeah. Dorrance Armstrong is who
Dorrance
I'm talking
Armstrong.
about.
Yeah,
Dorrance Armstrong is a guy, in my opinion. So this will be a game. Last game, I said that this was going to be a game for the secondary because Dobbs gets out and he runs. It was a little bit harder on the linebackers. But I feel like this is the game that's going to be on the O-line. This is an O-line game. That defensive line has more than enough up front to wreck the game with Micah alone, but it's just not just Micah. Now, I will expect Brock to really have a big day in the seams, especially intermediate to short passes in between the tackles, because I'm not too Van Der Esch is okay in the run game. Damone Clark is okay, but I don't necessarily see them as viable threats in the pass game. And that's where I really believe that Brock is going to shine in the middle of the field, intermediate throws, play action passing. It's all going to go off of how our run game looks against this D-line. If the run game is clicking, then Brock is on because Brock knows where to go with the ball. But it really is. We haven't faced a team that can stop our run, right? We haven't faced a team that says, no, you don't get to have Christian McCaffrey today. Show us something else, right? I don't think Dallas necessarily can be that team to force that conversation and make us answer that question during the game. But if they do, then we'll be able to lean on Brock and see what he does.
It's so interesting, too, because I was looking at their film from Niners Cowboys from last year. Now I got this NFL Plus. I can go look at the 22 from like years ago if I want to. It's incredible. The one thing that stands out to me about Dallas this year compared to last year is the speed of their defensive front. They're just playing so fast, and they've got 7 different players that all have at least 6 pressures. So they do it with a lot of guys playing really, really hard. And to me, the one factor in this game that is just is just undeniable, it's going to be huge, is the giveaway game. I mean, Dallas takes the ball away. They lead the NFL. They got 10 takeaways. And yet the Niners, under Purdy, they have only 1 giveaway all year. It was that T.J. Watt strip fumble in week 1. So that's tied with Seattle for the fewest in the NFL. So, and then last year when the Niners beat Dallas in the divisional round, how did they do it? They did it because they were +1 in turnover margin. Prescott, didn't take as good a care of the ball, or Dallas didn't take as good a care of the ball as Purdy and the Niners did, and the Niners were +1. I think that's to me, that's where I think Dallas is really, really dangerous. They put a lot of pressure on you. If you fall behind the chains, or fall behind on the scoreboard, they can dial up tons of pressure, and then they intercept passes, and the whole thing snowballs. So, to me, it's just like, can Brock Purdy take care of the ball? He hasn't turned it over. Can he throw it away and just punt? If the Niners don't move the ball, just don't give Dallas any easy short fields.
Well, also, Larry, just to kind of chime in, Dallas doesn't air the ball out. It's one of the most confusing things that I have seen this year, but they just don't throw the ball long, and they can. They are very satisfied with this kind of like dink and dunk, like money ball type style offense where they're just really just trying to stay ahead of the sticks. I don't see our offense that way. And I do believe that even though Dallas is good, their offense doesn't seem very fresh. It seems stale. It seems like they are like, I don't think they could get in a shootout with that offense. And if we get up quick, I don't see Dallas being able to keep up, mainly because we can score quick and we can actually get up on you quick in a game. But then on top of it, we're doing it with the run game. So it's not as if we can't be up and then slow down and just bleed the clock and take the air out the football. So I just feel as though that not only do we have the better offense, I do believe that Dallas does They may get a tip of the hat on the defensive side of the ball because of how fast they are, right? But I just don't see Dallas being able to get in a shootout with us. Or if they had to score points, our defense is too good to just get on the field and expect you to just get a drive off. So I think we should win this game. Dallas is very good.
I get the feeling too this is not the kind of game the Niners lose. Here's why. I just don't think that the Niners are going to lose a game when they just don't have the focus or they don't have that edge. They're not going to lose a nationally televised Sunday night game at home.
And this game means way more to Dallas than it does to us. You know,
it does, but the Niners are going to fire a good effort. I don't expect the Niners to lose if they bring lots of energy. And I think there's no way they don't bring lots of energy in this game.
Well, we are to Dallas what Kansas City is to us. Right. We're the team that keeps ending their season. We're the team that's that one step above. So they're gonna come in tomorrow night ready to prove a point. Yeah. Right. And I feel like not only winning this game makes us the best team in the NFC, but the fashion in which we win this game could have us looking like the Super Bowl favorite. Like we could be the Super Bowl favorite by Monday morning.
What's your? I mean, we got more to go here, but what's your final prediction on the score? Because I'm thinking 35-14. I'm thinking something big.
35-14 is big. I mean, that's exact. I mean, 35-14 would mean that we're the Super Bowl favorite, especially. I mean, as far as the NFC is concerned. I'm not going to count out these two defenses, man. I feel like the defenses are going to come to play.
You think it's going to be lower scoring? I think it might be too because the Niners and Cowboys both run the ball.
They run the ball. Yeah, I feel like before we know it,
that might be too high scoring.
Yeah, in my opinion, I'd go 26-14, 26-17, around there.
Yeah,
I'd say we get. Yeah.
What do you think of CeeDee Lamb against Oliver? Because I was talking to Oliver this week about this. He knows. I mean, CeeDee Lamb runs 72.4% of his routes out of the slot. The Niners are probably going to disguise some looks with zone coverage and maybe have Fred Warner carry Lamb up the seam at times. Oliver's coverage grade coach sits at 67.9. That's fourth best on the Niners. He's given up 15 catches on 20 targets, but only 6.1 yards per catch. The Niners secondary has done a good job at avoiding the explosives. So, to me, this is interesting how Oliver defends Lamb, because I said to him, certain guys in the slot are big and you want to get right up on them and just blanket them and not give them any separation. Other guys in the slot are burners and you got to give them room, but then you got to give them some room so they don't burn you with yards after the catch. And I'm like, what's Lamb like? And he's like, well, he's a little bit of both. I mean, he's got decent size at the line of scrimmage, but he's hard to jam at the line. But he also loves to make plays down the field, and he's got great ball skills down the field. He's really poised with the ball in the air. How do you see Lamb against Oliver?
I mean, I see it as any other matchup. I mean, Isaiah Oliver's going to have to step up. CeeDee Lamb is class personified at the receiver position, and Isaiah Oliver isn't, as far as corners are concerned. He's doing well, but he still is having mental errors. He's going to have one of the best games of the season. I mean, Isaiah Oliver just got here, so I'm not going to, fake like I've seen his career. I haven't. I've seen him since he's been here. And since he's been here, he's been okay. He hasn't necessarily been above average. So it's all about matchups, right? We're talking about CeeDee Lamb. What are we going to do about Brandon Cooks, right? Brandon Cooks is coming to town. So as far as, the seams, like the NFL all right, so let's have like a real football conversation instead of like narrative, okay? So the NFL is different from college football because of the hashes, right? And in the NFL, you usually see you usually hear people delineate the space on the field from to the field or to the boundary. But in the league, there really is no boundary because of how yoked down the hashes are, right? If you're in college, a true to the field, because the hashes are so wide, you literally, the actual yardage of getting the ball, driving the ball out of the numbers is not necessarily as hard or laborious as it is in the NFL. So now that you have the seams cut down shorter, you got to look for a guy like CeeDee Lamb to be able to use any type of route that he wants in the route tree against a guy like Isaiah Oliver and Brandon Cooks as well. There's going to be a lot of times where we're going to have 4 DBs on the field, right? So we do got to understand that they got receivers that can get open, but at the same time, can that get them the ball? That's what I mentioned before when I said, when we're looking at their film, they don't really drive the ball downfield. And I think that's a conscious decision too, because they actually have the opportunities to do it. I don't know if they'll pull that out against us, because that is like a MO or a calling card of our defense, that we struggle with deep passes. However, we haven't seen it that much this year. So really, CeeDee Lamb, I would see CeeDee Lamb a lot more on demo, right? I would expect that. And then I would expect to see a lot more of Brandon Cooks on Isaiah Oliver, right? Somebody who can really put a strain on him in space. So I don't know necessarily what CeeDee Lamb is going to do to Isaiah Oliver, but I know in that position of the field, they are compromised because the Cowboys have a lot of guys as far as CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, Tony Pollard, where they can get in that slot position and make things hard for the Niners on that seam, especially when that safety is +1 off the hash and he's got to attach on to number 2 when they're in a 3-by-1 situation. So really, we run a vanilla defense, right? We run cover 3. It's straight up and down, but it's up to the Cowboys to put a conflict on us, because that's what they haven't done in years. I mean, in the weeks before they seen us play. They tried to do it against Arizona and it didn't work. Arizona had a lot more pop coming off of the line of scrimmage and forcing Dak to get the ball out where he didn't want it to go. So really, circling back, it's the O-line. Like, if we can be able to run the ball and stop the run, I don't necessarily see Dallas being able to do anything against us on those hashes and in the seams. But if Dallas does have a day against us, it's going to be on the seams. It's going to be there.
The right side of the Niner O-line for a lot of people is a major concern. Now, Burford did have a really good game against Arizona. His overall pass blocking grade on the year, though, still sits at 14.1. It's not really good. And it drops in true pass sets as well. So can Burford, handle some of the games that the Cowboy line is going to play up front and some of the speed that they have? That's a concern. And then Colton McKivitz has been really good as a run blocker this year. The Niners average 4.7 a carry behind him. And the theory is you run at Parsons. But, Forster was asked about that this week, and he's like, it's a pick your poison deal, because if you run away from him, he's the best pursuit player in the league off the edge. If you run to him, he's got great vision on the ball and great strength to throw away blockers and make plays in his face. So
you're talking about Micah.
Parsons is just a not an easy guy to deal with in any way, shape, or form.
What's dangerous about Micah, I'm sorry to chime in, but what's dangerous about Micah is that he can do it up and down the entire offensive line. Right? It's not like you're going to have Micah on the edge or have him on even if he was an edge guy, you feel comfortable saying, all right, well, he's going to go on the strength. He's going to be on the backside. Either we run into him or away from him, right? It's a whole different ball game when he's coming through the A-gap. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, Jesus Christ.
They used him at 6 different spots so far this year. And it doesn't always make sense. Last year against the Niners, he actually rushed more against Trent than he did against McGlinchey. So it's not like they always just line him up looking for the mismatch. He's got, I think, some latitude to go where he likes to go. Mm-hmm. To me, I think the key with Parsons is, especially if you can inside, it's hard, but outside, when he's outside, he'll be outside most of the time. I think you just have to block him with 2 guys and not always the same 2 guys, so he doesn't know where that block's coming from. that he thinks it could be a receiver cracking back on him. It could be Kittle hitting him from the side. I think you got to combo block him, but you got to combo block him with a variety of different looks, because then you start to get him to hesitate. Because then he's looking, where's the block coming from? Then he's head on a swivel. And the more he's hesitating and head on the swivel looking for where he's going to be blocked, that's less time that he has to attack and blow things up. So I think that's really it. I mean, otherwise you're talking, you can't run at him, you can't run away from him, you can't give him the same look over and over and over. He's a dominating player. He's dominating quickness, strength, agility, smarts. I mean, the guy's a great, great player. That, it's not just on McKivitz. It's really going to be on the whole line to get this solved. But I think that's a major one, Coach, is, make him feel like you're going to crack back on him and he doesn't know where the blocks are coming from. Knock him off his feet a couple times with some surprise blocks, and he'll start to kind of look a little bit more tentative. I don't know that there's a better plan other than get the ball out in 2.5 seconds.
Yeah. He's not the first, monster that we've seen on the D-line. We saw Aaron Donald. We saw TJ Watt. We saw guys. So our offensive line struggled against TJ Watt. Aaron Donald, they did okay. It wasn't that bad, in my opinion. With Micah, you do have to mix it up. You got to crack him. You got to drive block him. You got to double him. You got to log him. You got to cut him. You gotta literally do everything you can. You gotta pester him. You can't make him feel comfortable in the game. He can't be on attack mode. He's on the edge. He should be chipped every time he's on the edge, wherever he's coming from. You got to crack him on toss. You got to log him if you're coming off on gap scheme. I mean, if he's there, honestly, I wouldn't be mad if they had tags. If he's there on the A gap, man, tag that shit to duo and get his ass out of the fucking club. Punish him, right? Like, they shouldn't just let him be on areas of the field without letting the defense know, like, hey, we're going at Micah. We're not running away from Micah, right? Because that's really what he's an expert at: hunting, chasing, attacking, running things down. But the last 2 times we played him, we ran right at him, right? By the way, is Juwan Jennings playing in this game?
Yes. Everybody's going to go except for Elijah and Feliciano.
Yeah. So, Micah Parsons is he's getting better, which is kind of scary to even say. But that's exactly how we're going to have to ingest him. We're going to have to come at him in a lot of different ways. We're not going to be able to just run away from him, give him open space. I don't want to see him on Brock out in the open field. I don't want to see it at all. So, yeah, and then really Dexter Lawrence is another guy. It's not just Micah. I get that.
DeMarcus Lawrence, Micah Parsons, Dorrance Armstrong, Dante Fowler, Sam Williams, Osa. They got a bunch of dudes. That's the one thing. It's not just Micah. There's no
Osa,
truer statement than that.
They got Anthony. They got Hank. They got another nasty in the middle. They got Hankins.
Gallimore, Chauncey Golston, Mozzie.
So they got depth like we got depth. We're not the only team in the league that understands that D-line depth is paramount in order to pursue the quarterback and stop the run. This is a game on our O-line. Dallas gets it done the way we do. They start from the line of scrimmage out, right? So they got a D-line to take advantage of what we do on offense. Now, from an offensive line perspective, I see a lot of zone. I don't see a lot of gap scheme this game. I don't think that we detach guards and let our guys go on down blocks on these guys. I think that we need to get them moving and get them running, and it needs to be a collective.
Well, I don't know about that, Coach, because in that game last year in the playoffs, Niners ran outside zone first half almost exclusively, 2.1 a carry. Second half, they came out and punched them in the mouth and ran power more at the Cowboys, and they average over 4.1 a carry. Now, they're faster this year, in my opinion.
They're much faster this year.
Yeah, so,
our zone is,
to me, that's one of the real questions.
Really, Larry, who's running zone better than us with Christian? That's why our zone is lethal. Our wide zone, with Christian running wide zone, he's never wrong. He's literally never wrong. Every wide zone read he has. That for right there, if Dallas can stop our wide zone, that would be eye-opening. That'd be eye-opening because they're fast too.
To me, I'll tell you what's really interesting as well is Kyle Shanahan, if you look at the numbers, has left his offensive line on an island much of the year. And what I mean by that is just that Kittle has not been staying in the block. And Juszczyk has not been staying in the block. They've been putting 5 in the pattern, making teams defend the whole field, and then letting Brock decide really quickly where he wants to go and get it out really, really quickly. And I don't know, it's weird. I mean, like the Cowboys have a nasty rush, but the Niners get the ball out quickly. The Niners have a nasty rush, but Dak and the Cowboys this year with the new offensive coordinator are getting the ball out really quickly and neutralizing a lot of that rush. So to me, that's going to be really interesting. Which team's quarterback feels their opponent's rush more? Or does either? You know, we had a point now, Coach, where the ball's coming out so fast that you can almost neutralize the rush, and it's just going to be a big underneath game.
Larry, I like it when we agree. I do feel that way. I really do feel like that the 6th offensive lineman in 50 protection is the 3-step. Is getting the ball out. That's the 6th blocker, getting the ball out. So even when we played the Rams, we left no time for Aaron Donald to even partially get in the backfield. We let the ball go extremely fast. And then also letting the ball go fast is another thing, but we let the ball go in a short fashion to very athletic guys who are predicated on getting yards after the catch. So, you know, a lot of these short passes are just extended handoffs. Really, I think I brought that up earlier in the show that, you know, a lot of Brock's passes are behind the line of scrimmage. They're short throws to dynamic players, right? That's a part of our offense that just works.
You know, the other question I have is, you know, do the 49ers, you know, is it a passing game against the Cowboys or is it a run game? Is it a run heavy scheme? I mean, it could be to McCaffrey either way, but is it McCaffrey out of the backfield as a receiver, or are we seeing McCaffrey do his damage as a runner? How much do they utilize Debo in this game? And I'll tell you the other big part of this game that I think Niner fans should wrap their heads around is, you know, last year Tony Pollard got knocked out early, and the 49ers are only giving up 3.9 a carry to running backs, but you know, Pollard's been really good for Dallas, and he's bounced back physically. He doesn't look at all diminished from his crushing injury in the playoffs. So, you know, I mean, can the Niners defend Pollard? In some ways, he might be the best back they've gone against. I mean, Connor had some success, but against Dallas, but he's a bigger back. Pollard's faster. You know, and he's a little bit more dynamic than the other backs they've seen this year. So, to me, that's a big one. You know, it's like, can the Niners run against Dallas's speedy front? If they can, man, it's going to be major advantage Niners. But if Dallas can run with Pollard on the Niners, they're going to be really, really difficult to beat and play action late in the game. So, how do the Niners defend Tony Pollard, I think, is the question. How good of a player is Pollard in your mind?
Pollard's a very good player. He's good enough to get Zeke shipped out of town. I like his contact balance. Plays way bigger than his frame. He has good lateral quickness, short burst, protects the ball really well, is an asset. Honestly, I feel like Dallas is trying to turn Tony into their own little CMC. He's actually a threat in the pass game, runs good routes. Kind of guy where his first carry looks like his last. Very rare that I say that about a running back, but there's maybe about 2 or 3 guys that I feel that way about who run the ball in the league. Tony Pollard also has really good vision. He knows how to bend it back and start on one side of the line of scrimmage and come out on the second level on the other side. He uses his blocks fairly well. He's not as tough as a runner, but he does throw his body into tacklers when he wants to get yardage, short yardage. He's just a complete back. And you know, you almost are disappointed that he got hurt. the way he did, because he is a little with everything that I said. You just kind of have to take a little bit of the gloss off of all of that with him coming back from the injury. He wasn't way better than he was last year, but this year he is a little step below what he was when Zeke was still in the building. But he's very much class personified. He's as advertised, and he's going to come to play. And there's a reason why they got rid of Zeke over Tony. So that's what I think about him.
Let's hit some of these supers. They're all backed up here. 69ers says, I love how violently Randy Gregory plays. Should be fire. I like the speed. I like that speed off the edge. Keith Murphy, the unbeaten, says, great question to Shanahan about Brock being a system quarterback. What are your thoughts on his answer, and do you guys think Brock is a system quarterback? I mean, every quarterback operates some system. So to some degree, everybody's a system quarterback. But I know what you're saying. You're saying, is there limitations to him? I don't think he's a system quarterback in that I think he can make all the throws. But he's got some of them. He's just got to have a really good line around him. I mean, Brock Purdy is going to succeed or benefit based, as I think, in the future on how good is the guard center tandem, trio in front of him, because he's not the kind of guy that's going to have a lot of success if he's got, pressure in his lap all day. He has to have a strong interior offensive line, keeping the middle of the field open. If he can have that, man, I think he's accurate, and I think he can make a lot of different receivers look pretty good. Ken Konecki says, you've been hating on Brock since the start. That I cannot be directed towards me. And
no. Let's pause. Let's pause right there. You know who was it directed at? We're not going to do that stupid shit. So look,
I don't think it was directed at me.
Yeah, it was.
What
directed
do you
at
think?
Me. So
have you been anti-Brock, Coach? I don't.
No. Let's have the conversation. So I don't like having these conversations because of the fan base is reactionary, right? So I don't like the fact that when you talk about Brock in a balanced way, all of a sudden you have to be either hot or cold. You can accept more than one idea at once, okay? And understanding that Brock is very good and an amazing processor and a great young man, and he's in a great situation that's highlighting everything for him, there's nothing wrong with that. You can't hate on him all of a sudden just because you want to see more of him. Now, Larry and other people feel as though that the jig is up. It is what it is. Brock is the man, no question about it, and everybody should just bend the knee. I have the opinion that I have. I can be able to look at Brock and say that I want to see more out of Brock and still understand that he's a very good quarterback. But to not agree with somebody else's opinion and then to sheepishly say, oh, well, you don't know what you're talking about, that's just mob mentality. That's just what it is. And I know where I'm at. So let's go, Larry.
All right. Matt McEwen says, better, what teams would Brock upgrade? In my opinion, he would upgrade a lot of teams.
He would.
The guy can play the position. I don't know how many he would upgrade. Probably at least 20. Randall says 2 playoff wins. Brock Purdy, how many does CJ have? And Tannehill, I mean, really. So he's pushing back on that. Mm-hmm. 69ers, do turnovers don't matter, Coach?
Do turnovers don't matter?
He's saying because Brock has none, is what he's saying.
This is what I promise I won't do. If Brock has bad games or if Brock starts to struggle, I guarantee that I'll support him more than anybody in the chat, including yourself, Larry. You're going to run and hide.
No, I'm not going to run and hide.
You're going to run and hide if this kid struggles.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are, Larry.
No, I'm not.
Hide. All right, so let's do this while we're on stream. Let's do it now. Larry, if Brock struggles,
is Brock going to go undefeated in his career? No. Is he going to throw picks?
No.
Yes.
Nobody expects him to go undefeated.
Okay.
All right. Just like nobody expects him not to throw any picks.
I'm convinced he's a very good quarterback.
You bring these
coach.
things up as if they can't happen because they haven't happened yet. What you're doing is you're taking your grandstanding.
I'm not doing anything. I'm listening to you.
Yes, yeah, no, that, all right.
I'm not what? You're doing well. I'm not doing anything. I'm listening to you. You're making a point.
Don't run on the kid if he struggles, Larry. Don't.
Why would you think I would?
Because that's the easiest thing to do. It's the easiest thing to do to move on and act like you don't treat the chat like they have amnesia. They
who
know.
They
know where the they know where the
who did I run from?
Of Brock, huh?
What quarterback have I run from? Or what opinion have I run from? I don't know. You said let the chat know. What are you saying? You're saying that
don't run. Just don't run.
When have I run?
Okay, we will see. We gonna see.
All right. Papa Phil says everyone check out the coach's film breakdown on Wednesday. Absolutely amazing.
It was good. I did film breakdown.
It was good. What was it? Give us a little.
Give us a little
Cliff Notes version.
Hour 15 breakdown of the 49ers.
Solo or with somebody else?
No, but it's just me.
Just you.
Yeah.
And what are you looking at? How many plays were you looking at?
I ran over 30 plays. And we ran over pass plays and run plays of the game against the Cardinals. So we looked at some red zone
9-0 or 9-D or both?
Offensive line, Niners offensive line.
9-0. Okay.
Yeah. So we looked at some inside and outside zone, gap scheme. We looked at some protections, looked at start, finish, half man and mirror and recovery with offensive linemen.
And you showed the video you had the video on the screen?
Yeah.
Was it end zone wide or sideline wide or both?
It was all angles.
Nice.
It was all angles. It was wide.
What conclusions did you come to as far as any common denominators that stood out that you want to share with us here?
I love the steps of our offensive linemen. You could tell that they've really been working hard at inside and outside zone. I mean, I pointed it out maybe about 5 or 6 times in the whole film, but I could have done much more. Pointing out every time they simultaneously took their zone steps, inside and outside zone steps. Running backs too, they all have married feet. Spencer Burford, he's doing really good in his strong sets, like his jump set and his vertical set. His vertical set is it needs some work, but when he uses independent hands and steps down with a good punch, he's stout. He seems to kind of get in a little bit of trouble when he gets in a soft set or a vertical set, and he kind of gives the defensive lineman enough room to get up into him. He took on some bad bull rushes in the film. Trent Williams is class personified, but he's more athletic now than he is strong. In my opinion, Aaron Banks is our most complete offensive lineman.
He's graded out really well. He's playing really well. Banks is strong against the run and the pass this year. He's been fantastic. He's definitely he's made a step that Burford's yet to make.
Yeah. Well, I will agree. He is an entire step above the progression of where Spencer Burford is. But he's just young, strong. He can run for days. He's got good punch, good hands. He's got good pad level. He's a willing helper in assisting when he's an uncovered man in pass protection. Even when he comes down on scoop blocks on the backside, I mean, he gets off the ball so hard. He damn near knocks his man and Jake Brindle off their track. He comes in so strong.
He has also got the perfect O-line body in that he doesn't have to. That's his walk-around weight. Like, he's walking around. You see him in whatever month of the year. He plays at his walk-around weight. So that's like who he is. He's just that broad of a guy. He doesn't have to lift tons of weight to get up to it. Some guys are too tight. You have to have that natural. I mean, Aaron Banks has got like basketball game. He's got like low post game. You can YouTube him, Aaron Banks basketball, and watch some of his high school basketball exploits. He's an athlete who just happens to be, 6'7", 330 pounds. I mean, he's a monster. He's a big, broad guy, and he's really smart, and he's getting better and better and better. Burford's going to get there, but Banks is a little bit more developed at this point as a player. And the left side of the Niner line's been phenomenal.
They've been good. I wouldn't say phenomenal. They've been good.
I mean, they're grading out. Banks is grading out really high, and Trent is grading out the highest.
Where you getting them grades from?
Well, the Pro Football Focus stuff that I saw had both those guys ranked really high.
Oh, you're on PFF now. Funny. Let's move on, man. This stuff is so crazy, man. We just talk in circles, bro. Let's just go. I'm
just saying. I like some of their. I like some. I mean, I'm watching. First of all, I'm watching all the games, and I watched all the games on the All 22. I don't need PFF's grades to validate what I'm seeing. I see a really good 49er left side of their line. Now, Williams is not the same player that he was 3 years ago, but he's still very, very dominant, very aggressive in the run game. And Banks, to me, looks more aggressive in the run game. He's getting better pop, better. He looks like he's functionally stronger. And his footwork is really, really solid. I haven't seen him give up more than one pressure all year. So I love what I see from the left side of the line. I mean, you could, you can point to some grades, but I'm just saying overall, I like the way it looks. Joshua Edwards drops this one. He says, 2 of the most insightful and convicted opinions on YouTube around 49er football. Love these respectful conversations. Everybody always agreeing on every single thing gets boring.
It does get boring. I mean, and that's really why we do these shows, is because we have different points of view, but we're not here to, be disingenuous to the chat or the fans. Like, we want to be able to give, a real conversation without being afraid of somebody trying to cancel you or somebody being a Nancy in the chat saying that you don't deserve to be listened to because you have a different point of view. That's
get lost, Nancy.
It's kind of it's weak shit. And it is, man. I don't know how else to explain it, bro. It's so weak.
And that's the scientific term.
Yeah, like that cancel culture bullshit. Like Joe G in the chat. Get off my jock. Like, it's disgusting, bro. It's like,
come over here to the starred chat row. It's a little bit nicer over here. Costco Puff says, Larry, just say with money and age, BP should be top 8. Okay, I probably should have. It's my fault. I'm not a good communicator. Ken Konecki, CJ Stroud, love Dak. Ha. This is gold. All right, Ken doesn't agree.
The trolls are dropping the gold in the bucket today.
There's a lot of people emptying the clip. Daryl 49er for life Smock says, with those quarterbacks, will those quarterbacks work under Kyle's scheme? If not, it doesn't matter because Kyle wouldn't want them anyway. All right, there you go. We got this one. Oh, that was that one. I just put that one up again. Okay, we got this one.
We already saw that.
Alez T. Coach and Krueg's chemistry is awesome and entertaining. You guys make Saturdays fun. Please keep passing the gas, but try not to blow a gasket. There you go. Yeah. We do love the fact that Coach is here on Saturdays. It's synonymous with Saturdays. Ken Konecki says, put Mahomes on the Bears or on the Panthers.
Like, do you see?
I think he'd still be pretty good, but I do think he'd be
no.
He's better with Reed, for sure.
But the inference of that chat was that if you put Mahomes somewhere else,
that he wouldn't be good.
Right. That's so weird.
Well, no, it's wrong. So first of all, it's wrong. But I think it's also degrees. It's like anything else.
The conversations that we have surrounding this is what breeds comments like that.
Well, but
That's
I mean, this
so
is
weird.
Coach. This is the This has been going on forever. Remember the Joe? Did Joe make Walsh? Did Walsh make Joe? I mean, literally, that discussion was had all throughout the '80s. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, Joe made Walsh, and Walsh made Joe. Mm-hmm. And it's always in between. And it's like, would Mahomes be Mahomes on the Bears? Mahomes is Mahomes, but he's better in Kansas City with Reed calling plays. But yeah, he wouldn't be a disaster on the Bears. Come on, guys. Druber says, Coach and Krueg, a little bit of red and a lot of gold. Hit that like button, y'all. There you go. Keith Murphy, the unbeaten, says, PFF is not a valid source. Tannehill isn't even a good quarterback. He plays with an exceptional coach and the best running back, and C.J. Stroud glimpse is less than Brock. All right, he's pushing back. We got this one from Keith. He says, no, I don't think we'd be averaging over a 30 a game with Tana trash. There we go. Another pushback. Keith, back for more. If we didn't have to play primetime games, I'd take Kirk. But since we do, we can't in good conscience take him. I'm done. Brother Bob, Purdy's pimp. I'm driving. Let me hear you say Brock Purdy 33 more times. Brock Purdy, Brock Purdy, Brock Purdy, Brock Purdy, Brock Purdy.
Do not do that 33 times.
Brock Purdy, Brock Purdy, Brock Purdy, Brock Purdy, Brock Purdy.
Oh, man.
There you go. Keith Murphy, the unbeaten. And no, I don't think 17 quarterbacks can have a 95% game, completion percentage game.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. David E. says, Coach is right on his interpretation of Larry's hypo, but wrong on Purdy. Purdy can process at light speed. Rip me, just don't rip our quarterback. I'm old Greg. Do you think if I use some sort of Terminator timetable paradox that Brock Purdy could be my real dad? What?
I don't get that.
I don't get it, but it doesn't matter. Brother Bob says, we have the best dink and dunk with a little
yo,
chunk
you wild as
off.
shit. Yo, Bob.
Oh, geez.
Yo, Bob is nuts.
Jeez. Let's leave Hensley alone.
Most of the
with
super
his dink and
chats
dunk.
don't make me laugh. Like, but Bob's super chats are kind of undefeated.
Chris Badal, Joe Montana was called a system quarterback the first half of his career. Probably until the Super Bowl against Marino. I mean, there were a lot of people that disrespect, people don't remember that because it's like all like, everybody only remembers the Niners won that game big. People forget that Joe was kind of disrespected by a lot of people into that game. Going into that game, he'd already won the Super Bowl. I mean, think about that. You're disrespecting a quarterback that had already won a Super Bowl. When I say disrespecting, I'm just saying there were people that were like, kind of like, yeah, the Bengals were the Bengals, but now it's Shula. Now it's Marino.
But Joe,
it was a home
if you
game.
Look at Joe's numbers though, early on. I mean, revisionist history is cool.
He went 3-6 to start, or like 2-6.
Those teams were ran by their defense. Those Niners teams were defensive teams. They weren't offense. Yeah. So even
kind of like Brady early on.
Even Joe's numbers were pedestrian early on when he was winning. They were pedestrian. They weren't really tip of the spear numbers. Like he wasn't throwing for over 300 yards a game. Like that wasn't happening. So there was a conversation about Joe, about whether or not he was the guy early on, and he had to prove him wrong. He had to actually go out and do it. But not for Brock though. Brock isn't better than Joe Montana. Like Brock should be crowned right away.
Nobody's crowning him. Nobody's crowning anybody. Brent Jones, though, who did play with Joe Montana, said that he sees Joe Montana traits in Brock Purdy. Mm-hmm. Last week on Sunday, before the Cardinal pregame, in the Cardinal pregame show with Lo Neal on 95.7 The Game, we had Larry Centers on. And Larry Centers, who played with the Cardinals, obviously, but then finished with the Patriots and won a Super Bowl with the Patriots and Brady. And I asked him, what do you think of Brock Purdy? And he said, he reminds me of Tom Brady at the end when I was playing with Tom Brady. Mm-hmm. So these guys, I mean, I can't make this stuff up. Don't listen to me. Listen to the guys who played with Montana, with Brady. They're bringing up comparisons. That right there is startling. Now, granted, maybe they're doing it because they've been won over on Brock. Maybe I don't know. I'm not sure. But I mean, Brent Jones saw Joe Montana, and you'd got to think that he probably would feel like, man, let's all pump the brakes on comparing this kid. But instead, he's kind of going with it, which really surprises me. Brother Bob says, Coach, I missed it.
Why are you surprised by that?
Why am I? Because generally, when old school guys are asked about, like, give you an example, Willie Mays. hey, man, do you compare this guy to Willie Mays, that guy to Willie Mays? The guys who played with Willie Mays go, no, man, that guy ain't Willie Mays, man.
So let me
know
ask
what I
you
mean?
this.
They're more
Every
guarded.
story-
It's really
every
rare.
story that you told me or relayed about somebody talking to you about Brock, right? Why everybody said that he's the man. Who said that he isn't? That you trust?
Who said that he isn't? When?
When you've asked. All the times you've asked. You're relaying all of these stories.
No, I didn't ask
what
him.
guy,
I said,
what story of a reputable guy that you're willing to name said, I think we should wait? Or has everybody that you've come across said, man, this guy reminds me of this? Or are you only listening to the best stories about Brock?
no,
It's
I haven't
literally-
had, I
'cause
haven't had a
you
guy
can-
say that.
You can tell us.
Because here's the bottom line on that. There's a little bit, like anything, we all understand human nature. There's a little bit of like, nobody's going to besmirch somebody unless they really have a job. Like, that's why I kind of admire the people
So
who
what
do.
are these stories worth then?
Well, they don't. First of all, they don't have to say it. I mean, Brent Jones, as I just said, Brent Jones played with Joe Montana. Most guys who played with the greats, like, they're not sitting there going, you don't hear Kerr going, yeah, this guy's just like Michael. No, he doesn't. He's like, pushes back generally. Hey, Steve, do you think this guy's like Michael? No. You know what I mean? They're guarded. Guys who played with Joe Montana should be guarded of Montana's legacy and be like, no, Joe had this and this and this. Instead, Brent's coming out going, you know what? Joe is really calm, and his calm reminds me of Brock shows that same calm. Brock shows that same this, same that. They're making the comparison. I just think that's really interesting that they're willing to make the comparison because most people aren't. Most people would say, no. He's not Willie Mays.
So
I
that's
saw
my
Willie
question,
Mays.
though. What have you heard most people say? No.
I mean, some announcers on TV have questioned. There have been people along the way in the last year that have questioned Brock, but it's kind of he hasn't given them the opportunity. If he throws 3 picks and they lose Sunday night, there'll be an opportunity. But right now, there's no opportunity. Most of the people who comment on television go with the flow. Because it's way easier to go with the flow. Right. So they're not going to take an 11-0 quarterback and be like, he sucks.
Not as he sucks, but they're not going to take an 11-0 quarterback and say, exactly. They're not going to take an 11-0 quarterback and say, I'd like to see more.
But some people do. Some people have. Like Nick Wright. I mean, this guy Ruiz. Not this guy Ruiz from The Ringer. I thought, okay, until this article came out in The Ringer, I don't even know who Ruiz is.
Respect? Has there been anybody that you respect that has said, let's take a look, like, let's wait? Or has everybody
I respect you. I respect you.
Not me. No, not me. You mean so I just need to know. I just have a question to ask you. So
there aren't too many people that have said that.
Respect? Is there anybody whose football acumen that
Jesse?
you respect? No. Don't try to bring it to the common denominator of
Vish.
Us. No.
So who?
They don't count. No. Hold on.
Those guys don't count.
Hold on. Larry Center's level. Has there anybody? You talk about all of these guys you run into. You don't have to name names.
Yeah,
but has there been? Hold on. Let me finish.
Greg Cosell.
So Greg Cosell has said we need to wait and see.
Greg Cosell has been very, Greg is not impulsive, and he's never gonna. Even if the guy was the best quarterback who ever played in Greg's mind as he's watching it, he still is gonna say, "Hey, let's see the league adjust, and then we'll see how he adjusts back." So there's pause.
Okay, so what do you think about? I love Greg Cosell. I love Greg Cosell. What do you think about Greg Cosell and his expertise?
What do you mean? What do I think he's a personal friend. I know because I know his process, what he puts into it. And so I see, here's the thing. When you've put in the time and rolled the film back and forth and you know what it means to actually know, you know the difference between the people who spend that time and the people who don't. And the reality is Greg knows the sport on the level of the coaches. Why? Because that's the time that he invests in his film study. I feel like I know what I'm watching when I watch the film, but I'm glad I will freely admit I don't watch every team in the league. I'm not watching the same cut. He sees the same out pattern against different coverages and has that backdrop to know how much space is a lot of space, how much space is a little space. He's got all the angles down because he watches so much film. So I'm just saying, once you've known what you're watching and you're spending hours, I would spend 5 hours per game breaking down a single film. And we look at 5 films. So I'm spending 25 hours just rolling it back and forth, making notes on the film. So when you've done that kind of investment of time, and then you maybe watch a condensed version of the game or the all-22.
Dancing, man.
No, I'm just giving you a complete answer. When you have spent the time to know, man, then you know. When you haven't spent the time.
All right. So now that we said all of that, do you respect Greg Cosell's opinion?
Yes.
All right. So if Greg Cosell says that we need to wait and we need to see more and we need to see the league catch up to this kid and how they're using him, why isn't that enough? Do you disagree? Hold on.
That was a long time ago now at this point, Coach.
Long time ago. Do you disagree with what Greg has said?
No, I agree with Greg's assessment.
When did he say that, though? You said
week.
That was a long time ago. When did he say that?
Probably coming into this season is when he was interviewed a lot over the last 4 or 5 months. And coming into this season, he was like, hey, I need to see more. And I needed to see more too. Coming into this season. Yes, absolutely I did. We all needed to see more, Coach, because of the elbow. And that's his point as well. Coach, we didn't know how the kid was coming back from the injury. So there is no such. John Lynch said, hey, we're just going to have to see. We're just going to have to see. Kyle, that's why it was such a big story when he was out there in camp at the beginning, and what he looked like was such a big story, and why so many people wanted to know, because there were degrees of this, man. Everybody's body responds differently, and Kyle maintained he was going to come back at 100%, but I didn't know, and I had to see for myself. But now here we are. Now we're a month in. Now we've seen him improve. We've seen him process. We've seen him throw with anticipation. He's done it. He's done it on the redone elbow. He's done it in the playoffs. He's done it against the same teams. We've seen teams adjust. We've seen teams blitz him 85% of the time. We've seen teams drop 8 in rush 3. We've seen all the different looks. Now, at this point, Greg and others are saying, you know what? This is Brock Purdy. And what you're seeing here is real. He can process. And he does have a really calm demeanor at the line. And he is well above average accuracy-wise. And he can make all these anticipation throws. And he really is smart. And he's minimizing negative plays. And they're noticing all these things. That's all I'm saying right now. So I would say if Greg said today, I don't know, man. I still need to see, what happens when he faces this blitz in this situation, and I've got some reservations. That would make me go, you know what? I've got some reservations too. That's all I'm saying. But I'm not hearing that right now. But I was hearing that coming into the season. And I don't get tons of Greg dialogue because I'm getting it off a radio show. But, he seems to believe that everything we're seeing about Brock is what we're going to see, which is he doesn't have the biggest arm. And I would say this, Coach, I'm really eager to see Sunday night here. Why? Because I'm convinced that Dallas is going to try to fool Brock. They're going to show him one look pre-snap. They're going to roll into something else at the snap. And they're going to try to pick off a pass or two, jump some passing lanes, and grab an interception or two off of late rotations that he, didn't recognize or didn't account for.
I'm not anticipating picks, man. That's just I can't do that. I can't
Even
go into
one?
a game. I can't go into a game that I want to win anticipating failure. Picks change the whole game, right? And Brock's strength is his processing power. That's as far as if I had to take one thing from Brock that was elite, his processing. Like the way Brock processes through this entire offense is I've never seen anybody have this much command. So what you have to understand is that I don't want to see him throw any picks.
I don't want to see him throw any picks either.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that there's a high likelihood
You're having
that
a real good time reading the chat.
No, I'm laughing because Jesse, we just mentioned Jesse, and now Jesse's donated $5 to you.
Yeah,
Coach.
I know he is.
He says, "Hi, Coach, big fan, first time chatter, long time listener." Is that Jesse's pushing back on the fact that you said it didn't matter when I said his? Jesse disagreed. Daryl, 49er for life, Smock. Actually, Jesse was a big fan of Purdy. He says, Coach, when you do film breakdown, love your insights, by the way. Try and highlight the player and the moves before you start the play so we can follow easier. Otherwise, great breakdown.
I will do that, Daryl. Thank you. And I was looking for that type of feedback on things that I need to do. It was a really good breakdown, man. You should check it out.
I will check it out. I love that kind of stuff. Ken Konecki says, Mahomes is amazing, but he ain't the same on the Bears.
That's what you breed, Larry.
When
you do that, that's what you empower. Like, that's what you empower. You get all of these dad shoes, lawn. You get all of these guys going. And when you do that shit, I know they all pull out their phones with the font on 35 with it bolded, and they start,
don't be an ageist.
Great one, Larry.
Don't be an ageist, Coach. I got fans of all ages.
Yeah, right.
Gammon Brown says the coach, PFF has Burford intensely low graded. When you watch the tape, what does the film say to you? Has Banks peaked or can he still improve? Gammon Brown digging for knowledge.
Burford at the end. Burford is a
no, I think he's talking about both there. I think he's talking about both.
Burford intensely low grade, and when you watch the tape, what does the film say to you? Is Banks peaked or can he still improve?
I think he's asking multiple questions for his 5.
Okay, so I think definitely Burford can be there's a sense of improvement there. And what's encouraging about Spencer is that he's actually gotten better during the season, right? I could see if he started the season with certain areas of his game that you just kept seeing week to week to week. But what he's really doing is he's getting better with time on task. I would say that his worst game was against the Steelers, and his best game was the one that he just played. And these were 2 back-to-back games that he strung together. He did really good against the Giants. He did good against Arizona, but he's never seen anything that Dallas is bringing on the defensive line. So it's going to be time on task to see how much better he can get. But really, his biggest issue isn't necessarily with strength, but it's getting to the second level and staying on track, being able to have enough upper body strength to keep his inside hand strong so he doesn't get washed up under. And in pass pro, he's very strong with like hard sets and jump sets, meaning that he can get out of his set, and within his second set, he's using independent hands to keep his defender in front of him. Where Spencer struggles a little bit is when he gets in a soft set or a vertical set. He's a little uncomfortable handling that power that's got about 2 to 3 yards to get to him. So, it's things that he'll get better at. He needs to get stronger hands, and once your hands get stronger, they will get quicker naturally. But I'm okay with Spencer. He's actually getting better now. Aaron Banks, that we've talked about, I do think Aaron Banks is our most complete offensive lineman from the run game and the pass game, athleticism. There's areas of his game that he's not even close to where Trent is, especially in the pass game. But for a guard and for where we brought him in as a second-round pick, gave him his redshirt year, I'm happy with where we are with Aaron Banks. He's about as strong as any other Pro Bowl guard, a guard that you want to see move. He doesn't have a problem with dealing with solo assignments, and he's quick enough to handle backside scoops and fast enough to get out in front on combo blocks with Trent or with Jake Brendel. So our offensive line, we have a unique skill set because we don't get the typical big, tall, silverback gorilla strong offensive lineman. That's not what we use for the wide zone, which is the linchpin of our offense. But for what we have moving forward, we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. Now, Colton McKivitz, we got to see what he's going to do in other weeks coming. But Colton McKivitz had an okay game last game too. He didn't have a great game, but there was some signs where he actually was on his own and fared well. So that's how I feel.
They re-signed Dale Manning this week too, so that was kind of nice. I think Manning's pretty good. They're going to look at him as a guard, but he's got left tackle experience. He feels most comfortable at left tackle. I love Burford and Banks. I think those guys are going to be their guards for the next decade. I mean, Burford's only 23. He's really, really young. He's got the prototypical frame to play guard. His body is way, last year there was way more baby fat and less muscle. This year, he's bigger, stronger. He's getting better. He wants to be good. He's smart. I think Burford's, he's not where – I don't think he was as advanced because he played tackle at UTSA, and now they moved him to guard, and then he played right away. Where Banks, played left guard at Notre Dame, and Notre Dame's whole line coach is considered one of the best in all of college football, and so I think he was a lot more advanced, and he's 26, not 23. But I think those two guys are going to be the Niner guards for a long time. A long time. I would say, I bet you those guys are the guards for the next 8 years, 9 years, which is a long time in the NFL. Right now, Banks is a little bit more refined, but I think ultimately they're both really, really good. Coach, we'll call it there. We're 2.5 hours in. Still got lots and lots of people in the chat. You're streaming this on your channel as well, right?
Yes. Yes.
How many people over there? How many people are sitting over there?
66 over on my side.
Yes, I mean we're looking at 700 people in the room right now, with lots of people here on a Saturday. Everybody, I want you guys all to like and subscribe. There it is right there, right, Coach? At Bang.
Yo, no. Let's do something. Let's do something in real time. Let's do something in real time. I want you to highlight the last comment from Joe G. Highlight that comment
from Joe G. Ask Coach when was the last time he
put that up. Put that up. Now this right here is not football.
Not football.
This has nothing to do with Brock Purdy. This has nothing to do with the 49ers. And people like your boy Joe G, who are hiding behind his phone and hiding behind his
first of all, I didn't invite everybody here.
I know. But
some my boy Joe G.
No, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. Joe G knows that within the shadow of a doubt, if me and him were face to face, he'd walk right past me.
Oh, come on. Of course.
Okay. So we need to know who these people are. And we're gonna keep tabs. We're gonna keep tabs. All right. We're gonna keep tabs. Because the racial undertones is a little too much.
Seriously, I agree.
The racial undertones
there's no place for that. Coach has done nothing but
it's
give
cool.
you
No, it's fine. This
analysis.
is ugly. No. We're gonna do it. This is ugly.
Should I ban him, Coach?
No. Keep him. I want Joe G to stay. I want
Okay.
Joe G to stay. I want MJ to stay. I want Yaffe to stay. All of these little racist remarks that have been in the chat all day. I'm not gonna take the high road and move on and act like I don't see it. I've seen all of the racial comments in the chat the entire way. So just know you got to keep the same energy.
I'm only, I've been over here on the super chats,
no way
not
I'm
looking
let it
at
ride.
the chats.
There's no way I'm gonna let it ride. I'm gonna call out.
Manny says block him.
I'm gonna call out foolishness. We're gonna call out foolishness.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely.
So MJ, the racial comments from MJ, Joe G, the racial comments. Okay, Yari, Yaffe, the racial comments. We're gonna call them all out. Randall, you've been on my Dick All show. So we're gonna call them out. We're gonna call them out because it's ugly.
Randall says Coach would stomp my ass. Coach, I love you, man.
We need to expose cowards. You don't get to say racial stuff in the chat and get away with it. You don't.
Who said something racial in here? Because I got to
go back in the chat. Oh, when's the last time you put the pipe down, Coach Roach? Let's keep. We can go. We can call him out. Put up Yaffe. Roach.
MJ says I didn't say
comments. Let's put up Yaffe. Keep commenting. Yaffe MJ. Put MJ in there. Let's keep going.
MJ says WTF. Claims he didn't say anything. Coach sees you guys, and I see you as well.
I'm watching you all.
If I see something truly racial, you know I'm blocking. I'm blocking anybody but there's no room for that. There's no room for that. There's no room for that in any. I don't see that in any of my chats. Don't
hide.
Seriously,
keep typing. Keep typing. I want them all to keep typing. Come on over to my channel too, Yaffe. Come on over to my channel, Joe G. Come on over. When I go live, I want y'all in my channel. I want everybody to know what type of people y'all are. You don't get to say little stuff and then move on. You don't get to do that.
If I see anything in here, I'm going to go through this at the end of this show. If I see anything in here that is racial, I'm blocking. I'm blocking.
Mm-hmm.
So, guys, I just want to let you know if you put a racial comment in there in that chat, and I go through this at the end, and I will.
Yeah, go through it.
We have 20,000 chats here.
You want to talk to me
if
about
I see
about
anything,
me
I'm yanking
off a crack pipe? You want to do all that? I know I spent years in West Virginia. I'm more than what you think I am. I've been around all walks of life and accept everybody just the same. But I'm not going to apologize for being a black man just talking about football. I'm not going to apologize for it. Okay?
I agree. And now you got people saying I didn't say anything, this and that. You know, come on. If you said something, we're gonna find it. We're gonna be able to cut it.
There you go, Yaffe. Pookie put the pipe down. These are the fans. These are the fans that hang around the Niners. Pookie put the pipe down. Let put that up. I don't have no problem with racism. We gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it.
Yaffe, you're officially
Sun Yu was another one. Last week, Sun Yu, I was on you last week, and I said something to you in the chat, and then you bounced. I'm exposing them. You ain't gonna be able to say something to me, and I ain't gonna say nothing back. That ain't how I was raised. I ain't built that way.
All right. I am bad. Someone said, "Let them know, Coach." What do we have here? Eddie says, "Let them know, Coach. Larry banned these clowns." I absolutely am. And my guy who's looking at this chat behind the scenes, if you see anything racial, dump them. All right, Coach. All right, 2 hours and 37 minutes in. Give us your final thought on Niners Cowboys, Coach. Let's finish on a high note.
I got the Niners winning this game. It's going to be a low-scoring game because of the running back and forth. I feel like both defenses are going to come to play. And Brock pretty much has his biggest primetime game since the Eagles. He's got to show up. He's got to perform. So I'm looking for a good game from everybody. You know, I want us to be able to beat the Cowboys. The Cowboys care about this game more than we do as far as optics and narrative are concerned. We talked about this before. We are to the Cowboys what the Chiefs are to us, right? We're the team that got away. We're the team that, as long as we matriculate through the league, everybody bends the knee until they come and see us. So they're going to be ready to play, right? So I'm looking for the O-line to continue what they've been doing with Christian McCaffrey, to have the good running game that we have. He is the linchpin of our offense, in my opinion. And like you said before, man, you brought it up. I didn't want to touch on it, but I don't want Brock to throw any picks. I don't want him to turn the ball over. He seems as though that he can move the offense without doing it, and that's what I want to see.
I think Dallas's defensive line's faster than what it was last year, and I think it's going to be really difficult. I think the Niners have to stay out of these 7-man drops. This is the wrong team to drop 7 steps on. There's just too many edge rushers. You can't get a free runner at Brock. You know, he's really good at accounting for the defenders, but to me, there's so much speed.
His processing is on another level, honestly.
He's processing fast, but, you know, their speed up front is really fast. So yeah. I would say Run the heck out of the football. You know, Arizona 2 weeks ago ran 222 yards, 4.7 a carry.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a better back, and I think you can do it. I think the Niners can run. And if you can't run just McCaffrey, then run Debo. I would. This is the game I would run Debo in. And I really think the 49ers should have a run-heavy scheme, like 60-40, run pass, and take care of the football. That's really going to be the key. Dallas, to me, Coach, exists largely on huge negative plays that they create on defense. So, to me, the major key is first and second down, getting to third and manageable. Not having penalties on first and second down. If you get to third and long, you're in trouble against this team. If they get a 10 to 14 point lead, you're in trouble against this Dallas team. So to me, it's all about run the ball, stay ahead of the chains, run heavy plan, keep the ball out of the air as much as possible. So get creative on end arounds and reverses and that kind of thing. Try to create plays without putting the ball in the air. And then I think you've got to gang tackle Pollard. You got to expect everything's going to be a run to Pollard because they don't really have another runner. And I think you got to find a way to lean your coverage underneath to placing your linebackers in front of the lanes where CeeDee Lamb is and force Dak to go to Cooks or Gallup. Those guys can make plays. It's not like they can't, but he wants to go to Lamb. They're going to utilize Lamb in the slot. You know, make sure you've got a defender in front and a defender behind and try to make Dallas. The other thing is Dallas makes a lot of mistakes. So make Dallas keep, kind of like Arizona where you didn't let their explosives beat you. Don't let Dallas have explosives either. Make them drive the length of the field. I think if you do against this defense, they'll probably make a mistake or two, get into some, third and longs, and then Bosa and company can tee off. And I'm eager to see I know Shanahan said that Randy Gregory wasn't going to go, but he did kind of leave the door open. Is there any chance Gregory, is in this game? I'm eager to see that.
I would like him to play. He's ready. He ain't hurt. He just got here
last week.
I'd like him to play. I don't know. I don't understand why not. It's definitely did Christian play right away or did he miss the game? Didn't he miss? He missed the Chiefs game, right?
Played in that Kansas City game. That was his first game. So I think
played in the Chiefs game?
I think he played right away, but he just played a limited snaps.
Did Emmanuel Sanders play right away?
I would
That's
say
hard to remember.
No. That would be my guess. We know Jimmy didn't either. Jimmy sat for 5 weeks.
Okay, but isn't there like a 48-hour rule or something that you got to have before the game that they got to be there, or at least two practices?
I don't know about that. He had to pass the physical. He did. They had to make a corresponding move. They did. Shanahan seemed to think that he wasn't going to play in the game because he had to fly back to wherever he was before, Denver, I think, and pick up his family, get his stuff. But who knows? I mean, God knows I'm sure he would love to play against his former team. Are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm. I'd say play him. I don't see. I was really, before I said I wanted to play him, I was trying to think of at least one reason why not to play him, but it's not injury. He's been paid. He just got here. It ain't nothing but like an away game. What's the difference between him flying from Denver to San Francisco? Like it's almost as if he was playing a game. I think they should play him. Does he not know the defense? They probably got packages for him that he'd be ready. I think maybe this is possibly some gamesmanship from Kyle. But
keep it quiet and then spring him on him.
And then spring it on him. Maybe, because I don't see a legit reason why they would not play him. Can you think of a viable reason why he wouldn't play Sunday?
No. I would think they would want to get him out here, get him out there as fast as possible, especially because there is some mobility to Prescott. And that's kind of why I think he's here, is the fact that I think Kerry Hyder is a little on the slow side. Cleveland Farrell, not a burner off the edge. I think Gregory's here to provide speed. So this would seem like a game that could utilize him, but I don't know. See, it seemed the way Kyle phrased it, it sounded like they wanted to be sensitive to the player's needs to get his family repositioned and this and that. And if that's the case, maybe they just said, "Hey,
Well, if
don't
it's
worry
a
about
family
this
issue,
week."
yeah. If it's a processing issue, like, hey, we want you to get down here and get settled. You know what I'm saying? Actually find somewhere to lay your head. I mean, maybe I could see that, but I don't even think that's good enough reason. Really.
I mean, it's the NFL. You would think he would, but you never know
lives out
too.
of his
They
bag.
also may, I don't know, maybe they don't want to do it conditioning wise. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much practice he's had. I knew he kind of fell out of favor in Denver, but I think it was kind of a mutual decision to move on.
Mhm.
They could use him. They could definitely use him in this game. That's for sure. We got a couple other supers here. We got this one from Rakib. He says, "No, guys, CMC and Sanders both played right away. Sanders actually joked that he did not get a bye that year. Love the show, gents." So Sanders did play right away.
Mhm.
I mean, usually guys do play right away because they want to make their team happy. Big Ted's Garage says, "One thing I'd love to hear an opinion on. What are your guys' thoughts on Brock's connection with Brandon Ayuk, i.e. letting the ball go before the receiver is looking? Is this the start of a Rodgers-Adams connection? Love the show, guys." Well, Brock, did it the other day with Ronnie Bell, where he threw the ball before Ronnie was even put his right foot in the ground on an out pattern at the goal line and just threw it right to the pylon. And Ronnie turned around, got the head turned, and made a great catch and got both feet down. So Brock's shown that he can throw with anticipation. I asked Brandon about that pass that you're referring to where it was the deep one down the middle where Brock kind of led him. I don't know if Brock was leading him or if he was underthrown, but
Yeah.
what you had a double coverage where a guy dropped from the middle of the field back into the play, and he had to drop so fast that he had his head turned. So he was just sprinting down the field. But I'll say this. Right now, Ayuk is acting like every ball in the air is intended for him. And he is just taking everything very personally. So Ayuk is in a special spot right now. I think he has not had a single drop all year. And I think there's only been I think also there's a chance that he basically is, in a situation where he, I think, has only had 3 balls intended for him all year that were not completed. So no drops and only 3 balls that were thrown to him he hasn't caught. So he has just been absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
All right, Coach. What do you got cooking? I know you got a little pregame or postgame going with Vish later this week. What's the how's the Vish coach postgame going?
Amazing, man. It's a dream come true, really, man. Vish is so smart, intellectual, and full of life, vibrant. I love doing the shows with Vish, man. I mean, and then Vish is much younger than me. He's pretty much the youngest of all of us, right? So I'm in awe of his knowledge. I like the way how he not only does he know football, but he puts his personality into it. So he doesn't just gatekeep or try to punch down. He tries to educate. I love my shows with Vish, man. It's been a delight.
And do you do anything between now and then, or is that your next show?
Yeah. So no, I have the scouting report for the Cowboys and the 49ers that I'm going to do tomorrow before the game. Haven't decided whether or not we're going to do it early for before the games, or we got a primetime game, so I might wait towards near the game. And then we have our post game with me and Vish, and then of course instant reaction. So we in the game, man. We're just trying to put our mark on it.
All right, man. Enjoy the Niner game. We will talk to you next Saturday, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. Coach, have a great day, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you, man. And to everybody here, we're going to be all right. I'll see you next Saturday.
There you go. All right, Coach in the house. And guys, if you did cross the line, I'm going to go back and read the chats. So if I had seen anything, I've already blocked one person today. And if I see anything, you're going to be blocked, and it's just simple as that. And, it's unfortunate, but, you got to be able to communicate on a professional level. And if you cross lines, I can't endorse that and won't endorse that and don't endorse that. So that's all I can say. I'm going to go through this chat, and if I see stuff in there, I'm writing those people's names down, and those people are going to be banned. So is it worth being banned to get off some one line that makes you feel good? And if it's 50-50, you're still going to be gone. So it's just the way it is. And that's just the way I'm going to roll. So that you guys have to understand that going forward. We got one more super here from Rakib Jumani. He says, are you doing the pregame from the Hilton tomorrow? I want to come and say hello. Yep, check me out tomorrow at 3 o'clock, me and Lo Neal. The future Hall of Fame fullback will be at the Hilton in Santa Clara from 3 till about 5:20. And then Niners Cowboys. And then, of course, join me in the postgame. Kev will be along. Should be a lot of fun. Baller will be back in the house. We'll have a good old postgame show with thousands of people hopefully watching after the Niners roll to 5-0. At least that is the hope. That is the hope, that the Niners somehow roll to 5-0. All right, a couple last thoughts from our sponsors, MarinAutoglass.com, 415-883-3030. We're also brought to you by New York Style Italian Sausage, and the title sponsor of the Krueg Show, Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out, 2 locations, Emeryville and Corte Madera. Here is their spot in Marin.
So New York Style Sausage was started over 70 years ago. We are the largest producer of fresh Italian sausage on the West Coast.
What makes our sausage in New York style is really the recipe came from back east, from New York, from Connecticut.
If you look at all of our labels, there's maximum 4 or 5 ingredients, which we're really proud of.
There's no preservatives, no MSG, fresh in, fresh out.
The pork comes in fresh, goes out fresh. There's never any freezing throughout the process. We've always used fine quality cuts. We're never going to deter from that. It's one of the reasons why our sausage is so good. I guarantee you put our sausage up against anybody else's from a flavor standpoint, no one will beat it, hands down.
Hey, do yourself a favor and do me a favor. Go buy a package of the New York style Italian sausage. Guaranteed you will love it. Guaranteed.
All right, welcome back to the Krueg Show. I'd like to thank everybody, the coach especially, for stopping by on this Saturday morning. Thanks to all you guys who made donations. We are sitting at 24,964 subs, looking to go to over 25,000 by the end of the weekend. So really thanks to all you guys. In the last 4 weeks alone, we've had 1.5 million views of our live streams or videos on the channel and added 2,500 subscribers in the last 28 days alone. So we're closing in on almost 200,000 watch time hours over the last 4 weeks, and we're putting out a lot of great content. Yesterday we did a great live stream with Damon and Brad Sham, and we took some video calls. It was a lot of fun. We're going to do more of that this week. And thanks to all of you guys for supporting the Krueg Show. Thanks to the sponsors. Thanks to all of you. Have a great rest of your Saturday. If you're looking for me tomorrow, I'll be at the Santa Clara Hilton on 95.7 The Game from 3 p.m. till kickoff. And then afterwards, we will be in the postgame, doing postgame after the ball game. And then we have the quick turnaround Monday morning. We'll have our Palmetto Superfoods 49er Wake Up with Damon Bruce and I on both of our channels, bright and early. Quick 8 a.m. turnaround. It's going to be a tough turnaround. Somehow we'll make it all work. But until then, have a beautiful Saturday. Enjoy some of this warm weather. Enjoy some college football. And we'll see you tomorrow on 95.7 The Game. For the coach, I'm Larry Krueger for the Krueg Show. Have a great Saturday.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you gon' get exactly what you asked for.